Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel on Stop. Thanks so much for being live with us here on your Thursday afternoon. It is great to see you. I want to get out to some breaking news. We are following an overturned tractor trailer here, and you're taking a live look at this at 285 and Moreland Avenue. This is in DeKalb County, and right now police are on the scene. You're taking a look specifically on Moreland Avenue at Thurman Drive. DeKalb County police say this incident is forcing the closure of Moreland Avenue. This is between a white pickup truck along with a trailer, as you can see right there along the road. Looks like I had an audio issue there for just a bit, but should be back with you guys. So let's continue along here and talk through what we're seeing. This has closed Moreland Avenue if you're just joining us here at 1 o'clock. And I want to let you know this is in DeKalb County. Police are asking drivers to avoid this area during the cleanup. So this is a part of your lunch commute, part of your afternoon drive. Again, this is between Henrico Road and East Conley Road on Moreland Avenue, and it includes the exits from I-285 to Moreland. There is an overturned traffic trailer. You can see first responders, firefighters, and other workers out there assessing the situation. So we're going to continue to monitor this, but I want to make sure that you guys are aware so you know to avoid it, because this is going to cause some delays. No word on whether or not anyone was hurt at this time. We're working to get details on that. It looks like you can see another specialized truck entering the scene. Can't quite tell if that's an ambulance or what kind of truck that might be. So we're going to continue to assess this. We have a live crew getting us some new images, and it looks like that is the tow truck. So that gives you an understanding as to how they're trying to get that tractor trailer out of there on Moreland Avenue, and you can see how it is closed. So we are going to keep you updated as we get any new details here into the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. In the meantime, I want to take you out to another developing situation, because we're following news out of the Mall of Georgia. Right now, we understand that there is a situation ongoing at the mall in the Buford area of Gwinnett. Nothing has been confirmed, but we have had reports of fire and emergency crews outside of the Regal movie theater at the Mall of Georgia. We're working to send a crew there, and our assignment desk is making calls to find out more information. Again, at this time, we have reports of fire and emergency crews outside of the Regal movie theater at the Mall of Georgia. This is in the Buford area of Gwinnett County, but we're working to confirm what specifically is unfolding there. As soon as we get the information, we will let you know. But speaking of our assignment desk, let's go ahead and bring in Tanya Mendoza, our assignment desk manager. Tanya, great to see you this afternoon.
Great to see you, Ariel. I have an update on some of the stories that all our reporters are working on, and one that we got a press release on. But first, I do want to say that I have personally emailed the Gwinnett Fire Department to see what's going on over at the mall. Once we have that information, I'll bring it to you, Ariel, as soon as possible. Now, moving on to what the reporters are covering, Doug Evans, he's going to have an update on the man that was arrested for allegedly attacking a woman during a walk in Sonoya. Yesterday, Isaiah Phillips was arrested after police say surveillance footage and flock cameras showed him stalking a woman downtown. According to police video, we have some video of him being arrested yesterday, and we got him being arrested at his parents' house in Fayetteville. So according to that police video, it showed, I guess he had followed her allegedly with the lights off in the car before the attack. So Doug's going to have more on that, including the man's criminal history. So what I didn't know, and I learned this morning from Doug, was that I guess he was known at one point for committing similar crimes at grocery stores, and he was actually called the grocery store groper after allegedly groping women at multiple grocery stores a few years ago. So Doug is working on that. But what he does have as well today, and he's posted this on his Fox 5, Doug Evans Fox 5 Facebook page, is a statement from the victim from Sunday night's attack. So let me just read a little of that for you, and then you can go to Doug's Facebook page and get more if you would like to read her complete statement. But it says, here's a message from the victim of Sunday's attack in Sonoya, which she has given me permission to share. Very powerful. To the beautiful people of my community and beyond, I'm good. I'm living in gratitude because I know this situation could have ended so much worse. By the grace of God, I wasn't raped, and the suspect has been arrested. I am and will continue to be heartbroken that this happened in my safe little slice of heaven. But it is also a sobering reminder that even a city ranked among the safest in the state and country is not immune to evil. Very powerful words. She continues. You can read that whole statement on Doug's Facebook page. But Ariel, those were like her talking about how Sonoya is so safe, and yet something like this could happen is really scary. And sometimes, you know, we get in our little shells in our communities, and you know, we feel relaxed, and it's sad that you have these types of crimes happening.
So heartbreaking, Tanya, and truly just infuriating, because it's like, you should be safe in your community. You should be able to walk outside your door, go for a walk, go for a jog, and not have to worry about something like this. And I feel like, especially as women, there's a heightened level of like, okay, I got to look over my shoulder, got to make sure that, you know, I stay safe out there. So the fact that she was willing to share her experience publicly is incredible. And I know as the evidence in this case plays out, police will be sharing more details. So we'll hopefully get a better understanding as to who this person is and why police believe specifically that they're the one responsible. So, Tanya, just really, really incredible story.
Yes, and you know, the criminal history here, how he was out after those accusations previously, that's what I want to hear more about as well. I know Doug's going to do a great job at updating on this story all day long, so we'll be looking forward to that. Now, let me talk about this press release that we got this morning from the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. Basically, we got a press release that says a man by the name of Willie S.B., and actually, look right here behind me, I just got his mugshot. This is the mugshot from the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. We'll put that on our website as well for you. But he was arrested after a traffic stop on I-75 in Cherokee County. The authorities say they found marijuana and edibles, some disguised in packaging designed to look like popular children's candy. The driver was booked into the local adult detention center where he remains without bond. Ariel, I want your reaction to this picture. Okay, what stands out to you?
I think when I'm looking at this, of course, I'm seeing Cheetos, what appears to be, off to the right. I also am seeing what looks like maybe Fruit Loops and some Cheetos. Like I said, maybe some like hot ones, like some Takis up there. So just, I'm seeing stuff that I recognize.
Do you see a honey bun? I see a honey bun in the mix. Oh, I see the honey bun too, yeah. It's just wild. I was like, wow, look at this, like that it's disguised as candy and items that people might mistaken as the actual item. So that's from Cherokee County today. They shared that picture. Thank you to the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office for sharing the picture with us, because if we would have just gotten the press release and information, it wouldn't have had this kind of impact on us here in the newsroom. So we'll update that if there's any more info on that. And then let's move on to what Eric Perry is working on. So this morning we learned Atlanta didn't make the cut for the 2028 Democratic National Convention. 3 other cities, including Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia, are still up for consideration as Mayor Dickens calls out the Democratic Party. Previously, party leaders came to Atlanta to tour the city in consideration, as those 5 cities were in consideration. Today, in a letter obtained by Fox 5, Mayor Dickens says for the DNC not to even include Atlanta in the short list means that the DNC does not consider Atlanta or Georgia relevant to the past, present, or future of the Democratic Party. That's what he said in the letter. And there's much more. You can read all of that letter on our website. Eric Perry will break down all the details regarding this story. Ariel?
Yeah, Tanya, this one kind of stumps me because I feel like, looking at the political landscape of Georgia, things have changed in many ways, right? We've seen Georgia shift a little bit from a red state to maybe a bit more of a purple state. And while certain areas may disagree with that, the reality is we have two senators whose names have been floated around as presidential contenders. We've seen kind of Jon Ossoff take a bit more of the spotlight as he seeks re-election. We've seen Raphael Warnock in a lot of conversations. So it is interesting to see that the Democratic National Convention didn't even think that Atlanta was supposed to be on that short list.
Yeah, exactly. And, Ariel, today I had gotten a tip that there was a big meeting with a lot of Democratic Party leaders here in Atlanta at a location. And, when I inquired about it, I was told that it was, a non-media event. It wasn't open to the press. But I wonder if they were all discussing this at that meeting today. I know Eric has several calls in, including to the chair of the Democratic Party of Georgia, which I think there's a statement on our website about that, but we'll have much more on it later.
Tanya, thanks so much as always for the conversation, letting us know what we're working on from the assignment desk. We will stay tuned to you for any further breaking updates, but in the meantime, we'll see these stories again throughout the afternoon and later this evening. Tanya Mendoza, thank you. As we continue here at 1 o'clock, you guys, let's talk about the latest regarding the national debt. We have a lot yet to get to here at 1 o'clock, but first, let's get this in because the U.S. just set a grim record this week. For the first time ever, the national debt has surpassed $40 trillion, and it's accumulating fast. While a few lawmakers have been vocal about addressing the debt crisis, most politicians have looked the other way and continue to vote for bills that add trillions to the government's debt. President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, for example, is projected to add over $3 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years. But the president is looking toward outside investments in the U.S. to spur economic growth. Take a listen.
We have more money being invested in the United States than any country at any time in history. Money's coming in by the trillions.
Republicans have been good at cutting taxes. They've been horrific in the spending department. Until you pass a balanced budget amendment, I don't think we actually solve this problem.
Now, both parties bear responsibility for the staggering debt, but it's accumulated quickly under President Donald Trump. It took less than 10 years for the national debt to double, but less than 5 months to go from $38 trillion to $39 trillion, and another 5 months to reach $40 trillion. Another troubling sign for the U.S. economy is the bond sell-off, which led the Treasury Department to double the amount of U.S. government bonds it buys back to calm the market, something we're going to continue following closely. In the meantime, a little closer to home here, I want to let you know that Atlanta police are investigating after multiple apartments and cars were struck by gunfire. This unfolded at an apartment complex in southwest Atlanta. No one was hurt, but police say several parked cars and apartment homes were struck. It happened on McDaniel Street, and the call came in a little before 1:45 this morning. Police haven't disclosed what led up to all of this, but they are investigating. Let's talk about the latest regarding the trial of Lindsay Clancy. We understand that in an unexpected change of events after one witness took the stand, the court is already over for the day in this triple murder trial that Lindsay Clancy is facing. The Massachusetts mom is accused of strangling her 3 children to death in January of 2023. Fox's Kaylee Schuyler joins us live from Plymouth, Massachusetts. Kaylee, you've been in the courtroom and catching us up to speed on all of this. What has happened?
Hi there, Ariel. Well, Chaplain Sheila Kavanaugh was the only witness of the day. She says she's met with Clancy around 200 times, and they even met right before the trial started. Kavanaugh testified that right after the murders, when Clancy could speak, she would talk about her kids and also hearing a voice that told her she needed to kill her children and then kill herself. But during cross-examination, the prosecution pointed out that Kavanaugh didn't mention the voice in her notes.
She alluded to having heard a voice, and the voice, according to Lindsay, told her that if she did not follow the command, neither she nor her children would be safe.
And you also said that this voice, talking about the voice, came up in several of your meetings, correct?
Correct.
And you never once wrote about any of it in any of your very detailed notes, correct?
Kavanaugh went on to explain it was not her job to take verbatim notes, but rather be there for Lindsay in her grief. Now, in this case, the defense is trying to convince jurors Clancy was psychotic, over-medicated, and therefore not criminally responsible for her kids' deaths. But the prosecution says Clancy methodically planned the murders. And this case has gained global attention, and today across the world, people gathered to support Clancy. There were hundreds of people outside the courthouse here, and it was one of the several planned in the States, but there were also organizers in England, Portugal, and South Africa. The supporters I spoke with say they want to raise awareness about women's mental health.
I'm here to support her because I saw her emotion in the courtroom. I could feel it in my bones. And I don't know if she'll ever be okay.
We are expecting a full day of testimony tomorrow. Ariel?
You go. I want to ask, what do we expect in terms of the length of this trial, in terms of its continuation? Are we expecting another week of testimony, another few days? Have you heard anything to that regard?
So really, I want to back up a little bit. The game plan heading into today was that the defense was supposed to call one witness, and then we've been told that the prosecution has 3 rebuttal witnesses. The game plan, again, was that there was going to be no court tomorrow and then closing arguments on Monday. But now we're being told that closing arguments could be Monday or Tuesday. So it really just depends on how court plays out tomorrow.
Good to know. Kaylee Schuyler, thank you so much for the context and keeping us updated on this trial that's gaining national notoriety. We appreciate your update. In the meantime, you guys, coming up next, we are going to be checking in on our forecast with meteorologist Lauren Robinson. Stay tuned. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt here with meteorologist Lauren Robinson as we're taking a live look out over Midtown and downtown Atlanta. Lauren, I have to say, these blue skies, I feel like I haven't seen them for quite some time without a cloud like that.
Yeah, it is very nice. We do have some sunshine out there. We've been having sunny days.
We have the past few days, you're right.
Yeah. I was like, wait, where have I been? No, it's been sunny.
But I feel like we've seen some cloud cover. Like it's been a little hazy and hot, which today definitely warm, especially compared to yesterday was a bit of a tease. And then today, back to that heat.
Yeah, so it is still hot out there. We do have the dew points starting to creep up. Yesterday was very dry, so we did make it to 95 degrees yesterday, which was super hot, but it didn't feel that bad because we had dew points in the 50s and 60s. So our dew points right now aren't terrible. We're in the upper 60s, low 70s. That's pretty mild, I'd say, for the South this time of year. But over the next few days, we will see those dew points continue to creep on up. So those temperatures right now, upper 80s to low 90s. Some areas even warmed into to the middle 90s already, 95 in Eatonton, 93s in downtown Atlanta. Same goes for Covington, 92 in Athens, and up north, 84 degrees right now in Blairsville. Now, once you factor in those upper 60s, lower 70 dew points, it does feel a bit warmer out there. It feels like 99 degrees in downtown Atlanta. Same goes for down in Thomaston as well as over in Eatonton. It feels like 102 in Covington. So remember, we do still have a little more heating to go this afternoon. That humidity is going to continue to build on in as we continue to see that air push in from the south and southwest. Now, we take a look at our live Viper radar, and not a whole lot happening across most of the southeast. We're pretty calm at the moment, but we do have some storm chances that will be pushing their way in. First, let's go ahead and take a look at these temperatures we're expecting, though. We're going to see those highs, I think, in the upper 90s today. By around 4 o'clock, 97, 98 degrees. Again, you factor in that humidity, it's going to feel well into the triple digits. While we don't have any heat advisories in place today, at least not yet, you still want to make sure you're paying attention to the heat, humidity, and even that sunshine that Ariel was just talking about, because it is going to feel like the middle of summer out there. I don't think our Mother Nature locally here has registered that it's the middle of August, but we have to, you know, play the game that we're dealt. So we're going to continue to watch for that heat and humidity today. Now, we're also going to watch for some storm chances. Take a look at this hour-by-hour forecast. By later tonight, we could see some stronger storms pushing down from the north behind this kind of weak front that'll be across North Georgia. So this will be late tonight into early tomorrow morning, mostly during the overnight hours. So hopefully it doesn't impact too many people. Hopefully you're already at home, in bed, you know, where you need to be, and it's not affecting your travel conditions tonight. But by tomorrow morning, you do want to watch for maybe some late morning storms to impact your commute. So we're going to continue to watch for those again overnight tonight, and then late tomorrow morning, we have a couple of lines of storms that'll be pushing through. Then as we move into the weekend, we're going to start to see some drier conditions take over. We're on the calm side of the front by Saturday, so not a whole lot happening. Those temperatures will calm down just a little into the lower 90s, not by a whole lot, but we will be noticing some much more calm conditions out there. So as far as tonight's overnight storms, we have levels 1 and 2 for severe weather across our area. We're looking for some heavy downpours, maybe some hail. I think we have a smaller chance for the hail, but we will be looking for lots of lightning and thunder, even some flooding that could come with those heavy downpours, those damaging winds, of course. So we're going to watch for that later tonight during the overnight hours. And then for that second round, that's going to come maybe midday tomorrow. We do have a level 1 out of 5 for severe weather across central Georgia. So that's what we're going to continue to watch for as we move through the day tomorrow with the same threats, mostly those heavy winds, heavy downpours that can lead to some flooding, and then some lightning and thunder. So those are our storm chances tonight and then again into tomorrow. But let's take a look at our temperatures. I think today we see those highs in the upper 90s. It's going to be really hot out there. And then as we move through the next few days, behind that front that brings the storms, we're going to see those highs drop down into the lower 90s, still above average. We're supposed to be in the upper 80s this time of year, but still a bit more mild than upper 90s. So we'll take the small wins, the small victories out there.
Yes, we will, Lauren. Thank you so much for the update and 7-day forecast. Good to see what we are up against in the next few days. As we continue here at 1 o'clock, you guys, I want to get you out to our Chris Rosenthal because, Lauren, I don't know if you knew this, but wild Mustangs and burros are up for adoption in Gainesville. The Bureau of Land Management has brought 140 animals to North Georgia from out west, and they're looking for new homes. Chris, what's going on with the adoption and sale there today?
Yeah, absolutely. It is underway here, and I actually have some of the burros here behind me. Burros is just another name for donkeys, and of course we have the horses over here as well. Like you said, about 140 of them here. These animals really are a part of history, coming from our western rangelands, from the states out west. But there's overpopulation, so they need to get rid of these and find a new home for them. And that's why they are here in Gainesville for adoption and for sale. And I've got Hunter here. He is with the Bureau of Land Management. And tell me a little bit about these animals, the background behind these here.
Yeah, sure. So these are wild horses and burros that have been removed from western rangelands due to overpopulation concerns. And we are here at the Chicopee Woods Agri Center in Gainesville looking for new homes, good homes for these animals this weekend. We're here today until 4:30 p.m. and tomorrow 8 to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday 8 a.m. to noon.
And, you know, a horse can be a very expensive animal. These, just $125. It's all it costs to own, but there are stipulations, huh?
Yes, sir, that's correct, Chris. So yes, we are offering these animals for only $125. However, you need to ensure us through our application system that you are providing a good home for these animals, including meeting necessary fencing and shelter requirements, as well as the ability to provide adequate feed and water for these animals. But yes, Chris, this is an affordable opportunity. At only $125, you're unlikely to find an animal of this capability for a price point so low.
These are wild animals, but they are trainable. I mean, what sort of homes will these go to? What sort of uses can there be for these?
Yeah, Chris, I think you'll find people at this event from all walks of life looking to give a good home to one of these animals. These animals could excel in a variety of disciplines. I mean, including just your general trail riding, competition style animals, whether it be like an English or Western saddle trained animal event. We have these animals that have gone on to excel with law enforcement agencies such as the U.S. Border Patrol and the New York Police Department. I like to say it's more so the cowboy, not the horse, when it comes to training these animals. If somebody puts their mind to it and has the patience, these animals can go on and excel in a variety of disciplines.
Yeah, I've actually seen some law enforcement officers coming out here today, so it's amazing what they can do. I mean, a bit of a history here with these, too, and how we got here, huh?
Yeah, sure. So these are wild horses and burros that Congress passed a law in 1971 called the Wild Free Roaming Horse and Burro Act, which tasks the Bureau of Land Management to manage these animals' population in perpetuity. However, with that population, we occasionally have to remove these animals from the western rangelands due to overpopulation concerns and offer them for adoption.
Yeah, and you know, this event, this is open to the public, so even if you're maybe not in the market for a horse or a burro, anybody can come on out, right?
Absolutely, Chris. So, I mean, my hope here is that even if you're not interested in adopting one of these animals, come out and learn about it. This is a unique opportunity for somebody in the eastern part of the country to be able to see these animals in person and have a good conversation with our staff and learn a little more about these animals in the western rangelands that they call home, that the BLM manages on behalf of the American people.
And really quick, we have about 20 seconds left. Just give me the dates and times here.
Yeah, so we're here today until 4:30 p.m. Friday, August 21st from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturday, August 22nd from 8 a.m. to noon. And again, that's at the Chicopee Woods Agricultural Center in Gainesville.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's amazing looking at these animals that came all the way from out west, and they do these often around the country, but they are here in Georgia, in Gainesville. Really, really special to see these animals that are part of our American culture and history.
Chris, absolutely incredible to see these wild animals up close. I was definitely a little fascinated with Mustangs, wild horses, burros growing up. That book, Variety of the Grand Canyon, fan favorite about burros, but definitely hoping these animals go to great homes, considering they used to roam out west wild and free, and now they are here looking for adoption. Definitely something we have to do with overpopulation, but I really hope that they get good owners, as I know all of you do as well. So Chris Rosenthal, thanks for bringing this to our attention. In the meantime, you guys, I want to get back to that breaking news at the Mall of Georgia that we're following, where emergency crews are on scene. You're taking a look at video sent to us by a viewer, Kelly James, and we understand that right now firefighters responded to the Mall of Georgia. They say a small fire in a storage janitorial closet behind Victoria's Secret and the GNC Wellness store happened. The fire was extinguished by the sprinkler system before firefighters even got there on scene. Firefighters say the fire was accidental and the origin was due to a walk-behind floor cleaner. The scene has been turned over to the Mall of Georgia Property Management, and they are going to be sending a full media release here shortly. But in case you're unfamiliar, the Mall of Georgia has been really popular lately because it's one of the few locations with an IMAX theater where you can watch The Odyssey, you know, Christopher Nolan's famed movie, where you get to watch The Odyssey in all of its glory. So we've definitely seen more crowds at the Mall of Georgia as people have gone there to watch this film. Today, not sure how many people were at the mall, but it is the Beaufort area of Gwinnett County and can get rather busy at times. Kelly James, big shout out. Thank you for this video, getting a look at the fire and emergency crews outside of the Regal movie theater there at the mall. And again, if you're just joining us, firefighters say they responded to that Mall of Georgia where a small fire in a storage janitorial closet happened behind Victoria's Secret and the GNC, the wellness store. It was extinguished by the fire sprinkler system before firefighters even got there. They say the fire was an accident and the origin was because of a walk-behind floor cleaner. So we will continue to keep you updated as we get any new information. In the meantime, you guys are always a part of our conversation here on Fox Local, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you're streaming live with us. Someone here in our chat on TikTok is asking why those wild horses and burros are in captivity in Gainesville. And it's because the Bureau of Land Management rounds up some of these wild horses and donkeys and brings them for people to buy as pets or livestock. They say that there's overpopulation and crowding in various parts of the Midwest or western areas where these animals are. And it's been part of the Bureau of Land Management's organization and management of these species for some time. I do get it, though, because if I were a Mustang roaming free and I was brought to a new place, I'd imagine it might not be the most pleasant, but hoping those animals get good homes here in North Georgia. As we continue along at 1 o'clock, coming up, we have more news. Stay tuned. Welcome back in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being live with us at 1 o'clock on your Thursday afternoon. Want to get the latest on the unfolding legal saga that continues to surround Carmelo Anthony. A new judge is taking over the courtroom today as lawyers for convicted killer Carmelo Anthony argue for a new trial. In June, a jury found the teen guilty of killing another student at a high school track meet in Texas. Fox's Sarah Allegre joins us live outside the courtroom in McKinney, Texas. Sarah, we understand Anthony's lawyers won their first major fight in court yesterday. What's at stake today?
Well, we're already learning a ton of new information and seeing some new evidence that wasn't brought to the trial back in June. And we also have a new judge today, retired Judge Michael Chitty. He's now presiding over this case after Anthony's legal team successfully got the original trial judge from that case back in June completely removed. So now what they're really trying to focus on, at least Anthony's defense, is trying to get that conviction thrown out and also eventually get Carmelo Anthony in front of a different jury or eventually at the end of the day. But, you know, once once that recusal happened, I mean, there was a huge wave of support from Carmelo Anthony's supporters yesterday after that removal of Judge John Roach. The defense argued Roach made a lot of comments after the trial, raising some questions about whether he could remain impartial. But Austin Metcalf's father says changing the judge does not change what happened that day. Listen.
We can try to paint it whatever color you want to paint it. It's not going to change the facts. No matter what judge is presiding, no matter what lawyer is presenting the case, the facts are the facts.
Now let's talk about that new evidence that was never made public during the trial. We've got details about what was on Carmelo Anthony's phone. Prosecutors say Anthony had a documented pattern of obsession with knives and guns. He even wrote, "When I stab somebody, I'm going to lick their blood off the blade." Anthony's team, though, they're fighting those claims, saying Anthony made it clear from the start he acted in self-defense.
Not insensitive to the fact that a life was lost, but we also don't believe that 2 lives should be lost through injustice.
Now, a gentleman's agreement between the prosecution and defense prevented all that info from coming out at the trial. It was an off-record understanding that neither side would go into character evidence like allegations of violence and bullying by Austin Metcalf. Now, instead, both sides would focus on what happened that day of the stabbing. Now, today, Anthony's new legal team argues prosecutors kept Anthony from testifying that he acted in self-defense, saying that if Anthony took the stand, it would violate their agreement. Now, getting a new trial here in the state of Texas, that requires meeting a very high bar, and even if the defense doesn't walk away with a win here, we do know their attorneys are going to use this hearing to get their arguments and any kind of evidence at least on the record for a potential appeal with the state's highest court. Back to you.
Sarah, thank you so much for the update. This is one we're going to continue to monitor, as I know a lot of eyes are on this unfolding legal situation. Thank you so much for the update there from Texas. I'll let you get back to gathering new information. As we continue along here at 1 o'clock, you guys, let's talk about the latest regarding Harry and Meghan Markle, because according to a new report, they are planning to relocate back to the United Kingdom. 6 years after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle dramatically stepped away from their royal duties, they are reportedly moving back with their 2 children. The couple reportedly has no plans to resume their royal roles. Some experts point out life in Britain will be harder for Meghan. This move follows a July reunion between the Sussexes and King Charles and the monarch's treatment for an undisclosed form of cancer. Harry has recently expressed an interest in reconciliation with his family, but skeptics aren't sure he's being genuine. There appear to be no signs of a warming of relationship with Prince William, the heir to the throne. Prince Harry's presence back at home will make it harder for his brother to skip that reconciliation or avoid him, if you will. But according to multiple reports, the Sussexes' children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, are already enrolled in a British school. Let's continue along here and get a look at what is trending on Fox Local and Fox5Atlanta.com with our Joyce Lupiani. Joyce, it is great to see you this afternoon.
Hi, Ariel. It's great to be here. Sorry, I got a little bit of a cold, like a lot of people right now, so I kind of sound a little rough today.
No worries.
But the first story I have for you, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is asking for help finding a 62-year-old man considered armed and dangerous. So Stephen Russell Ellis is wanted on 2 warrants and was last seen near Island Creek Church Road in Hancock County. Now, Hancock County is a little bit south of Atlanta. It's kind of between Macon and Augusta, but the GBI is definitely calling this a statewide manhunt. And if you do see him, they say, do not approach him, just call 911. Don't try to make contact with him at all. Just call the local authorities as soon as possible.
This is something I've kept my eyes on, Joyce, and it's something that I think a lot of people, from what I've seen on social media, they're kind of talking about how this man might look familiar like anyone you might know in your community, but he's a specific kind of different, and law enforcement want you to take a close look, and if you see him, don't approach, give them that call.
Yeah, definitely. I was also trying to find a little bit more information about what these warrants might be about, and I didn't really find anything. I don't know if you happen to. I think one of them is a felony and the other is a misdemeanor, but I'm not really sure about that. But, they are saying he is armed and dangerous, so if you see him, do not approach him.
Good information, Joyce. Moving it on to maybe a different kind of foretold danger. Let's talk about this Publix recall. What's happening with these blueberries?
Right. So actually, it's more than blueberries now. The first recall went out in like early July. And at that time, it was for the Greenwise whole blueberries. But now they've like expanded it and upgraded it. So it's not just the blueberries, it's also the mixed berries. And this is because of possible E. coli contamination. So the recall is affecting 8 states. And guess what? Georgia is one of those states, along with Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, and Florida. So the bottom line is, if you have these, if you bought these from Greenwise, you should probably just throw them away. And if you do need more information about exactly what the lot numbers are and what the dates are and everything, we do have that information on our website, fox5atlanta.com.
Feel like a lot of us are probably looking for that lot number and trying to think, do I really need to throw away good blueberries if it does not correspond? But public's saying, or authorities saying, don't take the chance. This is something that if you have them, you bought it recently, just make sure that you don't consume it.
Exactly. If I had any of these, I would just throw them away. I don't really care if it matched the lot numbers or not. I would just get rid of them and go buy some more in a couple of weeks when it was safe.
What's $3, $4 if you're actually sick, truly. So let's talk about the latest regarding this Amazon drone delivery. I know Amazon has been expanding here in the metro Atlanta area. This really looks futuristic, Joyce. I can't lie.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of cool. So we've been talking about this for a while. I think we first heard about it back in May that it might be coming to Atlanta. So now it's kind of been like confirmed that it's coming to Atlanta. And Prime Air is going to deliver like items weighing less than 5 pounds in as little as 30 minutes. And the drone supposedly checks for like people, pets, and cars, before it lowers the package at a designated spot. But it might not be checking for pools. So you may have seen this video that's kind of out there on social media, and I think we were running it earlier in the day on Good Day Atlanta. But this woman in Texas, she got an alert that her packages was on the way, so she went outside and she managed to catch video of the drone like dropping her package into the pool. So yeah, wow. Right? I know. That's a great video. It's just like splash. I mean, it went right
like,
down
hopefully
there
there's nothing valuable in there that can't get wet, right?
I know. I would hope so, or hope there's some kind of package insurance or whatever. But yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to just keep watching this video. It's so funny.
It's a very satisfying splash.
It is, definitely. And I'm sure that they are going to be making some adjustments for things like this because, it's probably going to happen again somewhere. But anyway, it's coming here to Atlanta. They haven't really announced like an exact date yet or which neighborhoods it's going to be in first, but it's on its way and it's probably going to happen pretty soon.
Good to know. Joyce, thanks for this update. I have to call out our TikTok viewers here because this will probably give you a laugh. Someone here says, thank God being poor saved me again because I can't afford Publix, talking about that blueberry recall.
Okay, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, I totally agree.
Oh, man. Thanks for the laugh. Love our community here on social media. They always keep us on our toes. Joyce, thanks so much for joining us with these trending stories, letting us know what to expect. Looking forward to the next conversation. I'll let you get back to it because I'm sure you've got some articles to write. As we continue on here at 1 o'clock, you guys, getting my times in my head. We are in the 1 o'clock hour on your Thursday afternoon. Coming up next, we're going to check in on an update regarding the Atlanta Falcons. Stay tuned. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here on your Thursday afternoon. Let's talk a little Atlanta Falcons. We understand the Colts are hosting the Falcons for joint practice ahead of the preseason game, and our Victor Prieto is getting to watch that practice live. Victor, great to see you. What are you learning from Falcons practice with the Colts? Are they getting any insider tricks or knowledge that are going to take them all the way to the Super Bowl this year? Please say yes.
Ariel, it's great. I love your optimism. It's amazing. That's what you gotta have. So look, these joint practices, for the most part, they're very cookie cutter. It's just, you know, the sense of they're ramping up, getting ready for the regular season next month in September. They have that preseason game against each other, obviously, in the this Saturday. But really, this is just about getting the guys going. It's good to see where you fit right now because you've been going against in training camp your own teams. You've been kind of doing installs. It's a brand new head coach here with the Falcons with Kevin Stefanski with a new offensive system. So they're kind of just getting everything and getting a good sense of where they fit and how they look against a different team. It's their only joint practices they're doing this preseason. Yesterday, it started off pretty well. They did nice in the one-on-ones, but the 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills and, you know, the team activities, they definitely leave room for improvement today in the second and final day of joint practices with each other.
Victor, it's remarkable to see just kind of the different ways that they're able to pick up some of this stuff. I think, you know, when you were saying they're so used to playing against their own team and now these players are getting to go against another team, I can imagine that you might learn some new things by watching how someone does something. So it's kind of like maybe extended training camp, if you will, or amped up training camp. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a great way for continuing in this training camp philosophy of getting ready. So you'll see here the practices. I'll show you a little bit. Fields. So the practice starts at 3 o'clock. We're moments away. We'll speak with head coach Kevin Stefanski in about 15 minutes right over there under that Colts sign. So stay tuned. We'll hear from him later on Fox 5 Atlanta. But practice starts at 3 o'clock. These are the two fields. And yesterday was a little rough in the team activities for the Falcons. Tua Tagovailoa was the starting quarterback for the Falcons. Michael Penix still dealing with that injury, so he only did 7-on-7 activities, but Tua at times a bit rushed. He kind of was missing his throws. He wasn't looking for his first reads. He ended the practice in the final team period. They did 11-on-11 starters versus starters in basically a simulated drive. So they started from the 20, see how far you can go. The Colts scored on their simulated drive. It wasn't really a full drive. They ended, and then Tua and the Falcons threw a pick 6 in their drive. So wasn't the best end to practice. I'm sure they're hoping for a different result today, a better outing. Obviously, again, it's just practice, but yeah.
It is, but you know, you practice for the real thing, and I'm sure that the coaches and coordinators are kind of looking at things like, okay, where do we need to make adjustments and how can we make this better moving forward? Victor, always appreciate our conversations. I know I'm going to get to see you again here upcoming at 2 o'clock, a little closer to that practice time at 3. So Victor Prieto, I'll let you get back to it. Thanks so much for joining us. As we continue along here at 1 o'clock, you guys, let's talk about a canine that is being honored. Our Eli Jordan went out to check out how canine Robbie is bringing new exercise yards to a local shelter. Eli, tell us a little bit about this canine and why are we getting these new exercise yards?
Hey, good afternoon, Ariel. Yeah, just a little timeline about Robbie, the canine, the Coweta County canine dog. And on February 11th, there was a bank robbery at the main branch of Regions Bank on Bullsboro Drive. And then Robbie's handler heard the call, and they, went to chase. And then they chased down the car, and Robbie hopped out. And as soon as Robbie hopped out, he got hit by a car, but Robbie didn't care and got up, shook it off, and helped apprehend the suspect. He caught up with the suspect and brought him down, and police were able to put the suspect in handcuffs. And then, he went to the hospital, and then back in April, they had an honoring for him. And then just this past June, Robbie was discovered unresponsive and had passed. And so today, though, there's a little bit of memorial for Robbie. You can see the sign behind me, the Canine Play Yard, and that's here at the Newnan, Coweta County Humane Society. And with me right now is Angie Whitlock of the Humane Society here in Newnan. And Angie, what does this mean for you guys to, have not only the kids from Northgate and McIntosh High School come out and volunteer their time to help build this canine yard, but having Robbie's memorial here, and what does this mean for the Humane Society?
This means that our dogs are not just going around the fence. We've all seen dogs who do that. Now our dogs are engaged. They're thinking. We have a trainer on staff who assists us. And we just got the idea that Canine Robbie was trained. He was a mixed dog, and that's who our dogs are. They are not broken. They're wonderful dogs who have just been misplaced somewhere. And we want them to be as adoptable as they can be.
And so you guys really didn't have the separation. You just had basically a vacant lot back here.
Correct.
And now you guys can separate the big dogs from the little dogs and things like that. And everybody, and also too, you got some shade, some exercise equipment out here.
Absolutely.
And I mean, just, this being part of Coweta County's K-9 unit legacy, and Robbie, of course, I mean, this has to, and with the community get involved, with the high school kids volunteering their time. This has been a big deal that Robbie has had a great impact on this community, hasn't he?
Absolutely. The kids wanted to be involved from 2 high schools. One of the high schools wasn't even in our county, and yet they wanted to come. Our volunteers come and use this and train the dogs. But I'm a former high school teacher, and it's important to me that kids get involved with what we're doing.
Yeah, and that had to have been kind of touching, especially for you, seeing Northgate High School students and McIntosh coming over here and working all summer and getting this complete. What was today like for you when, we had the sheriff, we had the mayor, and we had Regions Bank here?
It's one of those warm fuzzies. It's satisfying, it's fulfilling. Our job is to help our community, and we do that through getting these dogs adoptable. And this is fantastic, and it just made me feel satisfied, proud, and it moves us forward. Rescue's tough.
Awesome. Well, Angie, the Noonan, Coweta County Humane Society, thank you so much. And Ariel, that's what's happening here. I'm going to be here for a couple more hours, and we'll hear from the sheriff about what Robbie meant to them, what this means to them, and also from Regions Bank, who helped. When they gave money back, they were, I guess, an award of sorts at Coweta, Noonan Coweta Humane Society had matching funds, and they're able to make this possible, and also with the help of the high school students. And it's just really everybody coming together and just realizing the impact Robbie the K-9 dog had on this community. Ariel?
Wonderful way for the community to all work together to help some shelter pets. So Eli, Jordan, thanks so much for bringing this to our attention. We'll see you again upcoming here at 2 o'clock. As we continue at 1, however, you guys, let's talk about a local teacher and coach. Congratulations, we understand, are in order because the Junior MBA and Junior WNBA have announced that Lorenzo Bailey of Elite Scholars Academy in Jonesboro has been named the 2026 Junior MBA, Junior WNBA Scholastic Coach of the Year. We recently interviewed Bailey about being nominated here on our Fox 5 News live stream at 1 o'clock. He was surprised with a celebration at Elite Scholars Academy where more than 600 students, faculty, and staff gathered to mark his achievement. Bailey will also receive a $2,000 grant and coaching resources from the Junior MBA, Junior WNBA to support youth initiatives at the school. So congratulations, Coach. It seems like you really earned what you have because all those people, they came together for you, so that's impressive. Let's talk about the latest regarding a major health breakthrough. An experimental skin cancer vaccine is offering hope for patients with a deadly form of skin cancer. Major drug developers Moderna and Merck say in late-stage trials, the mRNA skin cancer vaccine called Enistomeron significantly reduced the recurrence and spread of melanoma. They described this vaccine as the first breakthrough of its kind. According to a news release, the personalized cancer vaccine was tested on people who had surgery to remove melanoma and was used in combination with Merck's cancer immunotherapy Keytruda. Results showed the vaccine drug combo appeared to extend the time before cancer returned in high-risk patients. The company said the new data will be presented at an upcoming medical meeting and shared with regulators. So the idea that we could have a vaccine for skin cancer, really impressive. As we continue here at 1 o'clock, you guys, we are gearing up for 2 p.m. I will be hanging out with you guys again for another hour at 2. We have more news to come. I want to get you guys the latest update regarding a fire that started at the Mall of Georgia in a closet. It has since been put out by the sprinkler system. We're going to get the latest there, as well as the latest on Atlanta not being on the short list to host the Democratic National Convention. Our Angelique Proctor is going to talk about some new legislation that regulators here in Atlanta are looking at. All of that and so much more to come at 2. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstop. Thanks so much for being live with us at 2 o'clock. Let's continue on with some news we're following in the newsroom. We've got a lot of stories to get to, and I want to start on Moreland Avenue, where an overturned truck is leaking fluid. Moreland Avenue is closed as they're trying to get a tow truck over to that tractor trailer, get it upright and pulled out of there. This is closing Moreland Avenue between Thurman Drive and East Conley Road. Police have shut down police shut down Moreland Avenue between Henrico Road and East Conley Road, including all I-285 ramps. But this is happening on Moreland Avenue at Thurman Drive. So in case you need that locator, it is Moreland at Thurman. This is in DeKalb County. And as you can see, a DeKalb County police cruiser is parked trying to work the scene and get this situation resolved. It's causing some major delays because all of the exits leading onto I-285 are not passable right now. Officers are urging drivers to stay away from this area during this cleanup process as they're trying to get this figured out. We're not sure what kind of fluid is leaking from that tractor trailer, but you can see some of the markings there up close that might denote what kind of substances are held inside. I also want to let you know that a fire that started in a closet at the Mall of Georgia has since been put out by its sprinkler system. This unfolded just this afternoon, and firefighters responded to a storage janitorial closet behind Victoria's Secret and the GNC Wellness Store. They say the fire was extinguished by a sprinkler system before they even got there. As firefighters, they believe it was an accidental fire, and the origin was because of a walk-behind floor cleaner. The scene has been turned over to the Mall of Georgia Property Management, and this has been resolved. So if you're wondering what the police and sirens and fire truck activity was looking like here in Beaufort and in Gwinnett County, it was because of this fire at the Mall of Georgia that has since been resolved. Let's talk about the latest regarding Atlanta losing its bid to host the Democratic National Convention. Democratic officials have dropped Atlanta from contention for the 2028 presidential convention Thursday, as party leaders have narrowed their search to 3 alternative host cities. Democratic leaders have narrowed the host city options for this August 7th to 10th nominating event down to Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia. Republican leaders previously chose Houston for their gathering. And Democratic National Committee Chairman Ken Martin called the remaining bids very strong. Officials visited 5 candidate locations in April and May to evaluate fundraising capacity and logistical capability before they ultimately dropped Atlanta and dropped Chicago. In a letter obtained by Fox 5, Atlanta's mayor, Andre Dickens, has expressed sharp disappointment over the elimination, saying, quote, "For the DNC to not even include Atlanta in the shortlist means the DNC does not consider Atlanta or Georgia relevant to the past, present, or future of the Democratic Party." And the mayor went on to add they are afraid to leave their comfort zone and blind to the fact that the South is the answer. End quote. Now, as we continue along here, I want to let you know coming up at 3 o'clock, our Eric Perry is going to join us with the latest regarding this story. But speaking of the city of Atlanta, let's talk about an Atlanta councilman proposing new measures to regulate data centers here in the state of Georgia, or right here in Atlanta, rather. Our Angelique Proctor has been following up on this story and joins us live. So tell us, Angelique, about Antonio Lewis's proposal. How does the councilman want to regulate data centers here in Atlanta?
Well, good afternoon to you, Ariel. He's got a lot of ideas about how to regulate data centers. One of the things that he says right off the bat is that we need to stop any tax breaks for data centers. That is a very definite position that his legislation has taken. You know, but he says he wants to see Atlanta lead the nation as it relates to data centers. He says this is an issue that we have got to get right, and he is hoping with the legislation that he's working on, we can do just that. Now, Councilmember Antonio Lewis says he's actually been studying this issue for 3 years. He says that he has found an ally in District 11 Councilman Wayne Martin, and the two of them are supporting 2 pieces of legislation that Lewis introduced this week. Now, I was very surprised by this stat. Council members say that recent polls show that 70% of Americans are against data centers. And no doubt you've seen in all of these various communities where there are proposals, people coming to the mic and speaking out against them. 70% of Americans say they are against this. But the interesting thing Councilman Lewis is saying is Americans are using the technology every day, like you and I, Ariel. We're on the stream right now. Or if you use, say, electronic banking, or if you watch Netflix, or if you use YouTube or Apple Pay. All of these are comforts that we all tend to use. They say this is part of data centers, if you can believe that. Now, you're enjoying the benefits of data centers. So Councilman Lewis says that the city of Atlanta has a very unique position when it comes to digital infrastructure. Let's take a listen.
The 5 data exchanges that we have in America have to take care of everything. The one in the southeast of America, it's in Atlanta, right? And the one in Atlanta takes care of everything in South America too. So all of your information that you're exchanging from Florida to Atlanta to North Carolina to Tennessee, it all goes through one spot in Atlanta already. They've actually outgrown their space.
So that's in your district, the exchange?
The current exchange is not in my district. It actually sits downtown, and people walk past it every single day, and they don't know where it is. It's one of the most critical pieces of digital infrastructure in the Americas. That's North America and South America.
What we have to do is be honest about data centers. The proposed facility that's in Councilmember Lewis's district is not a data center, it's a data exchange. And that is a critical piece of digital infrastructure that allows for the free flowing of data and information, many of which that we rely upon. Your streaming services, our banking networks, our E911 system, all of these critical operations in our city depends upon these. Our hospital networks, all of these items are tied in. Our colleges and universities, they all are. And so we really need to have an honest conversation as a community about the digital infrastructure, whether it's a data center, whether it's a data exchange, about what they do and about what's necessary and what's not. More importantly, the legislative items that I support Councilmember Lewis on are really about regulating them. Making sure that they don't overconsume water, because there are new innovations around the way data centers utilize water, whether you fill up a tank one time and it operates like a radiator in a car, and it keeps using that same water to cool the data center.
And so those are some of the regulations that they are talking about, how data centers use water as well as electricity, the noise levels that they're allowed to amplify, and the cost to taxpayers. So Mayor Andre Dickens has developed a task force to evaluate and regulate data centers. They are also looking at national and global best practices in hopes of that we come up with the very best policies for the city of Atlanta. It is a 23-member task force. They will have 6 meetings and 2 public hearings. So there's going to be a whole lot of discussion about data centers over the next few months. But Councilmember Lewis says it's just a very important subject, and it's one that we need to get out in front of. Ariel?
Yeah, Angelique, I can imagine that as it is, we're already here. Like you mentioned, AI is becoming a part of our everyday lives more and more, whether we like it or not. It's in our banking, it's in what we consume, and understanding the guardrails we need to put now is so important. And especially as we look at, we've seen a lot of our community members concerned about the resource usage, which I know both of the councilmen talked about. So going to be interesting to see what they ultimately come up with and how it might serve communities here in our city.
But because they're having those public meetings, people can come out and get involved in the conversation. That's one of the things that they said. They want to start an honest conversation about data centers, and they want everybody to put their 2 cents in so that Atlanta can come up with the best policy.
Good idea, Angelique. Make your voice heard and share it with your elected leaders. Angelique Proctor, thanks so much for joining us live. I know we'll see you again later this evening for the latest. As we continue along here at 2 o'clock, let's talk about why a 4th Cherokee County deputy has now been booked into jail. We understand the Cherokee County Sheriff's investigators arrested and terminated a former deputy Wednesday after an internal investigation into unauthorized access of the agency's license plate tracking system. 57-year-old Jerry Shellhouse, the man you see on your screen, of Waleska, was booked into the county jail after authorities discovered non-law enforcement searches spanning a 2-year period. Shellhouse was fired and arrested Wednesday after an internal investigation. The agency discovered an allegation that Shellhouse improperly used the automated license plate reader database for non-law enforcement purposes between October 2023 and December 2025. I-85. He's facing 1 felony count of violation of oath of office and 1 misdemeanor count of prohibition on law enforcement retaining license plate data obtained through automated license plate recognition systems. Now, Sheriff's Office officials have not disclosed what specific license plate details or vehicle owners Shell House allegedly searched. We also don't know any of the personal motivations or circumstances behind this, but the Cherokee Sheriff's Office has since updated its policy to conduct these audits at least twice a year. They've also limited system access to authorized users, required mandatory user certification, and provided additional training on the appropriate way to use the technology. This is something we'll continue to keep you updated on as we get any new information. But let's take you out live to Jackson County now, where we understand growth has just exploded along the I-85 Northeast corridor here in the Atlanta metro area. And new employers are coming, bringing new jobs. So our Kevin Stewart went out to get a closer look at the landscape and joins us live. Kevin, great to see you. What can you share with us this afternoon?
Yeah, this is a really interesting story. I love doing these stories. It's a story of Atlanta, a story of North Georgia, the growth, the constant growth. We always joke about Atlanta. Is it full? It's not, because it keeps stretching further and further out. This area behind me, we're in Brazelton, right on the Jackson County, Barrow County line. This shopping center is a fairly new project, and you see this business going up right behind me. It's a good example of what you're seeing in this part of the northeast quarter of Interstate 85. Recently, you may remember, there was a big announcement by the Kemp administration about a new major employer moving into Jackson County, Siemens, and that is going to be a $185 million investment into a warehouse to create new jobs. We're talking anywhere from 1,400 to 1,500 jobs, good paying jobs. We're told the average salary is going to be roughly $67,000, so good money there. And it's these type of jobs that are setting up in industrial parks along the I-85 corridor that's really driving a lot of this growth, keeping people in this region for good jobs, bringing people to live in this area for good jobs, and bringing people who live anywhere from a half hour to an hour away in Gwinnett County and surrounding counties to come up here to work and then go back home. And it's a difficult balance. And we had a chance to talk to some folks, leaders in Jackson County, the Chamber of Commerce for one, and here's what he had to say about this project and the growth in this community.
Agriculture is a big business here, so that's important to protect, but so is the industry. And so as we focus on trying to keep it affordable to the average homeowner, making sure you have that balance in the tax base, that you have the contributions of the industry and commercial and the farm space, that's really important to offset, because they don't use the amount of services that you and I do as individual homeowners. So that's what you have to focus on to make sure that works for everybody. So we want to preserve our history. It's very important to us, and we're blessed to have the 9 municipalities, and they're each very different in their character.
Yeah, he says one of the big attractions here in this region is not just the jobs, but the good schools in Jackson County is what he was referring to more specifically. Now, you talk to people, longtime residents. Not everybody is in love with it. It's definitely a mixed bag. I talked to one man off camera. When I approached him to talk about it, he said, no, I don't want to talk about it, but I don't like it. I was just talking to my friend the other day about this. He says, you got a lot of new people here. They are not as hospitable, kind of rude. He says, I don't know where they're from, but he says it's changing the character. He says, doesn't like the traffic. I had a chance to talk to another woman who is from the Northeast Georgia corridor from Hall County, grew up in Gainesville and moved to Jackson County, in Jefferson to be exact, 6 years ago, and she says it has changed dramatically. She got away from Gainesville because it was too crowded, and she went to Jefferson and said it's changing here. It's just following me. And she says she understands the new jobs and the amenities they bring, and it's great to live in a great community, but she's not happy about it. I talked to another man who grew up in the community, and he says he loves it. He loves what it brings to the community. So it's definitely a mixed bag.
Kevin, I love that you've been able to speak to so many different people and get all these different perspectives. I understand change is hard, and for a lot of people who want to live in a very small rural area, to see that kind of shift underneath their feet and what feels like overnight, it might be over the span of some years, but it feels like it happens quickly. I can imagine their frustration and sympathize with them. But at the end of the day, all of these new jobs good for growing an area, and hopefully the people that the gentleman you spoke to felt were maybe a little rude or short, maybe he'll come around to them and they'll come around to him in due time.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, when you talk to people in economic development, in DeKalb County government, particularly in some of the mid-sized or smaller areas, and even in your larger areas, they say growth, it's a fine balance. One of the reasons why you want businesses in the area is because, just like everything in our households becomes more expensive, it becomes more expensive for governments. And so to keep taxes lower, they bring in businesses to try to offset that. And that's part of what you're seeing here. So it's a really difficult balance that they have to manage.
Good to know, Kevin. I always appreciate our conversations and the thoroughness with which you look at a story. So thank you for joining us. I know we're going to see you again later this evening with the latest on the growth in Jackson County. Kevin Stewart, thank you so much. As we continue along here at 2 o'clock, let's get you out to Henry County, where the sheriff's office is serving some warrants, and our Maria Guzman got to join them for part of a ride along to see some of these law enforcement operations. And Maria joins us live to talk about this. Maria, great to see you. What can you share this afternoon?
Hey, Ariel. Yes, so this is part of the Operation Save Henry. Now, today is day 3, so they've been doing this for the past 2 days. And so right now, the crews officially, they just deployed, and we're going to be following along one of those teams. So it consists of 8 teams, including 1 K-9 teams. Now, we have to be very careful here because this is an active operation to not disclose where they're going, but these warrants are happening here in Henry County. That's what we can talk about. And I got a chance also to talk about the sheriff because warrants are something they do here every day, and there's a big risk behind that. So let's go ahead and take a listen to what the sheriff says.
Sheriff, just walk me through what we can know about Operation Save Henry.
Well, the objective of this operation is to make sure that people understand if you are wanted for any type of outstanding warrant in Henry County, we're coming to find you. Those warrants never go out in terms of our focus, but we raise levels of consciousness with respect to bringing all agencies together. Today, us, tomorrow, you. There's never any jurisdictional boundaries with respect to where a criminal may go. So we want to make sure that we are task specific in our respective area.
When we talk about warrants, if you can just give me an idea, what type of warrant are we talking about here?
Well, we run the gamut, everything from misdemeanor to the highest felonious warrant, from the 7 deadlies that we call them, rape, aggravated assault, and even murder if we have some. Yes.
Gotcha. Warrants are a big part of the day-to-day here. What are the risks that our officers and deputies face when conducting these warrants?
Well, there's always what we call or consider to be the unknown. Whenever you knock on someone's door, you never know what's on the other side of the door. And so what we do is we make sure that we have a foundation with respect to our training. What do we do from a specific training perspective and also from a tactical perspective? We want to make sure we take everything by the numbers and never take anything for granted. In God we trust, and everyone else we check out.
Sheriff, what do you tell your team before they go out to their assignments and go onto the field?
Well, rely on each other and rely on your training. And we always want to treat, regardless of your type of warrant, we want to treat everyone the way that we want to be treated. But we want to make sure we take everyone in custody the way that they should be and that everyone goes home better than they came.
And for the people who call this county home, any messages to them as you guys go out and conduct these warrants?
Well, this is God country. We've always said that, and we're doing God's business, and we're making sure that we're sitting on the wall consistently and watching to ensure that everyone that stays here in Henry County can in fact rest here.
I know this is day 3 of the operation. Is this something you guys do every year regarding how long the operations are?
Well, we do this consistently. Each and every year there's more than 13,000 people that come inside of the Henry County Jail. There's just highlights on this operation, but this is what we do. This is a way of life for us, quite frankly. And so it's one of the things that we do each and every day. We're just raising levels of consciousness with respect to this warrant task force.
So once the deputies conduct the warrants and make those arrests, now those people will be coming here to the Henry County Jail. I'll check back in with you guys in an hour, and I'll be joining you guys from the road. I'll send things back to you.
Maria, thanks so much for the update. Appreciate it. We will see you again here upcoming at 3. As we continue along here at 2 o'clock, you guys, let's get the latest regarding a deadly crash in Tennessee. We understand that 2 members of a Tennessee college cycling team have been killed. A North Carolina man is under arrest, charged in this deadly crash that killed 2 Milligan University cycling students in Tennessee. The crash happened Wednesday along Highway 19 East in Carter County. It also hurt multiple other cyclists for the school. Take a listen. We're working to get that sound in from the Milligan University president, Stephen Wares, who said that he's deeply saddened to share tragic news where 11 of his cyclists were on a training ride this morning. Looks like we have that in now, so let's go ahead and take a listen.
Saddened to share some tragic news with you. 11 of our cyclists were on a training ride this morning. They were struck by a vehicle. 2 of them died in the accident, Halen Ingdahl and Braden Rogers. It is more important than ever right now that Milligan is a community gathered around Jesus, and we need Jesus deeply. So I'd like to invite the entire community into prayer with us, into grief with the families, with us, and into deep prayer for the families of those we have lost.
I am very limited in what I can say about the investigation by my canon of ethics, as it is an ongoing investigation. But what I can tell you is that John Benfield, age 69, of Newland, North Carolina, has been charged with vehicular homicide by recklessness, 2 counts, and aggravated assault by vehicle by recklessness, 5 counts.
Heartbreaking situation. According to an affidavit, there was no evidence showing that Benefield tried to brake or take evasive action before the collision, ultimately striking and killing 2 of those cyclists. In case you're unfamiliar, this is a small community in Tennessee, and Milligan University is a private Christian university there in Tennessee. So we'll keep you updated as this situation unfolds. In the meantime, I do want to let you know we have some good news regarding the cyclospora outbreak, because the CDC now says the number of cases are increasing nationwide, but the curve is trending downwards, meaning that the rate of new infections is slowing. The CDC says that it's still growing, but the worst may be over, because there are now more than 15,000 confirmed cases in 47 states. That's up 10% from last week, but officials say the spread is happening on a slower rate, and the spike could be due to a processing backlog. It's not clear exactly what's causing cyclospora, or rather what's causing that number to spike specifically right now. There are now 7 active FDA investigations, with tainted lettuce the only identifiable source so far. Health officials say the outbreak is also being fueled by the busy summer travel season. The FDA and CDC also tracking the salmonella outbreak, which has now sickened 431 people across 32 states. It's been linked to tainted jalapenos, but the investigation is expanding, and doctors are warning everyone to be careful. Wash your hands before eating produce, especially if you go to a farm or a petting zoo. In general, just practice those really good standards of cleanliness. A growing number of doctors and experts are urging food manufacturers to refocus on safety. The CDC says it expects the number of salmonella cases to rise in the coming days as states work to clear their testing backlogs. As we continue at 2 o'clock, we are going to get a check of your weather forecast with meteorologist Lauren Robinson. She's literally waiting in the wings to come join us, so we will check in with her straight ahead. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstad here with meteorologist Lauren Robinson, catching the tail end of my yawn there, Lauren, as we are here next to 2:30 on your Thursday afternoon.
Yes.
So let's talk about our weather forecast. Quite warm outside. The lower humidity yesterday, definitely a tease, but not the case today.
It spoiled us and made me feel like I was back on the West Coast, back in Denver, Arizona, my old stomping grounds.
Don't tell me with a good
this,
time.
This dry heat is nice. And then back comes the humidity. Like, oh, girl, you thought. You thought. Well, it's not too terrible right now. We're seeing those dew points mostly in the upper 60s, low 70s. That's not too super humid, like the middle 70s we saw last week. Oh, that was torture. Let's go ahead and take a look at these temperatures, though. So despite our dew points not being terrible, they're not great, they're not terrible, what we really will be paying more attention to will be the raw air temperature, because we're going to see those highs in the upper 90s today. It's going to be hot. 93 right now in downtown Atlanta. Same goes for down in Thomaston. 95 in Covington. 97 already out in Eatonton, and we still have more heating to go this afternoon. But once you factor in those dew points, it does feel like the triple digits in some areas. It feels like 100 degrees in Eatonton and Thomaston, 106 in Covington. It feels like 97 right now in Atlanta, down in Noonan. Same goes for LaGrange, even up in Athens. It's just hot all across the board. That's what you want to take for today. So another day where, no, we don't have any heat advisories in place, but you do want to make sure you're staying safe and keeping yourself away from any sort of heat-related illness and injury. That means, of course, staying in the shade, getting that AC however you can, staying hydrated, bringing pets inside, checking on your elderly neighbors. Outside of that, not a whole lot happening across the southeast, including North Georgia right now. So our bigger story will continue to be these temperatures. In the next few hours, we're expecting to climb into the upper 90s, and we stay in the 90s through dinner time. We fall into the 80s by bedtime. All of that, of course, still very warm for this late in the year. As you take a look at the overnight hours, though, that's where we are looking for some stronger storms to push through the area. That'll be late tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Then we get a little bit of a break, and I think we see a second round during the late morning to early afternoon hours tomorrow before we start to clear out a bit for our weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, we're on the calm side of that front. That's going to bring those storms. Calm side meaning mostly sunny, maybe a hit or miss shower, but we'll be seeing those temperatures cool down a bit from the upper 90s to the lower 90s thanks to that passing front for the weekend. So as far as severe weather is concerned, overnight tonight, we are looking for levels 1 and 2 out of 5 for severe weather. The yellow areas off to the northwest could be seeing the strongest storms tonight. The rest of our viewing area mostly under that level 1. We're looking for damaging winds. To a smaller extent, maybe some hail, but certainly lots of lightning and thunder, heavy downpours, maybe some localized flooding. And then as we go into the day tomorrow, this one has been updated. It now looks like our level 1 has pushed its way south of our viewing area. So we're not looking for much threat for our Friday. That second round that we were looking for during the late morning hours, that's looking to be just some run-of-the-mill showers and storms. But I do still think we could see some strong storms late tonight into early tomorrow morning. The good news with those overnight storms is they're less impactful. They're not going to be so much of a hazard on the roadways. There's not that many cars out. Most of us are already home for the day. So maybe it wakes you up, but hopefully it doesn't impact too many of those plans when it comes through the overnight hours. We're looking for those temperatures to fall a little bit behind it. So we'll go from the upper 90s today, middle 90s tomorrow, then low 90s through the weekend and for the start of the next work week. But again, once that front passes, that's going to bring those storms late tonight into tomorrow. We're going to see sunnier, drier conditions. And for a little bit, a bit of relief from those dew points once that front pushes through this weekend. So I think this weekend overall will be pretty nice.
Okay, good. I am looking forward to that, Lauren. We're almost there. Almost there. Lauren, thank you. Guys, let's get a check of some national stories we're following. In case you haven't heard, our national debt has just hit $40 trillion. The U.S. has set this grim record just this week because for the first time ever, we've surpassed $40 trillion, and it's accumulating fast. Lawmakers have done very little to address this issue, and a stunning number is now staring back on the national debt clock. This comes after years of ballooning government spending and an escalating escalating deficit. While a few lawmakers have been vocal about addressing the debt crisis, most politicians have looked the other way and continue to vote for bills that add trillions to the government's debt. President Trump's big, beautiful bill, for example, is projected to add over $3 trillion to the deficit over the next 10 years, but he's looking toward outside investments in the United States to spur economic growth. Both parties bear responsibility for the staggering debt, but it's accumulated quickly under President Trump. It took less than 10 years for the national debt to double, but less than 5 months to go from $38 trillion to $39, and another 5 months to reach $40 under the President Trump. Another troubling sign for the U.S. economy is the bond sell-off, which led the Treasury Department to double the amount of U.S. government bonds it buys back to calm the market. As we continue to follow the latest regarding Iran, President Trump says that Iran talks are dead until the regime gets serious about making a deal. Iran, however, continues to threaten its Gulf neighbors and ships in the Strait of Hormuz. While signing a stone that will be part of a new White House helipad, President Trump seemed unconcerned about these stalled talks with Iran. He did leave the door open for future negotiations. The president believes economic pressure on Iran is working, and he's now getting a boost from a U.S. partner in the region. The UAE, United Arab Emirates, is one of Iran's last economic lifelines, is now suspending all trade with the country after intercepting 2 ballistic missiles on Tuesday, even though Iran claims it wasn't them who sent those missiles towards the UAE. Ships are still being attacked in the Strait of Hormuz, but U.S. Navy escorts are helping get some oil out. The price per barrel is still creeping up with no clear end in sight to end this conflict. Iranian insiders recently told the Financial Times that U.S. military bases in Europe may be Iran's next targets, the latest sign that Tehran could be getting ready to escalate the war. So as we continue to keep you updated on that, you can get the latest right here on Fox Local. We will keep you updated if that were to happen. In the meantime, let's talk about the latest regarding dynamic or personalized pricing. You know, when you get an ad or you click on things and you see one price, but then maybe you get on a library computer, not your personal computer, and suddenly the price for airfare or a hotel stay is much cheaper. Yeah, that's called dynamic or personalized pricing, and it's something that the FTC wants to target, the Federal Trade Commission. Retailers that secretly personalize their prices may soon see serious consequences. According to a new policy proposed by the Federal Trade Commission on Wednesday, companies that secretly charge different prices for the same goods based on a customer's personal data could face federal charges. In a statement, the FTC chairman says that consumers expect prices listed online to be uniform, not, quote, the retailer's estimate on what they can afford. It's the agency's latest move in a years-long look at surveillance pricing. Last year, the FTC found some businesses, including grocers and clothing retailers, were using third-party companies to help vary online prices based on a shopper's location, browsing history, and other factors. While the chairman says the agency doesn't have the legal authority to ban individualized pricing in all circumstances, under this new rule, companies would have to clearly and conspicuously disclose if they are engaging in those practices, as well as share the types of data they use to set the prices. Businesses who fail to properly disclose these tactics could be in violation of the FTC Act, which prohibits unfair or deceptive marketplace policies. Some retail trade groups say businesses aren't collecting personal data. They're saying that doing so would jeopardize customer loyalty. Instead, they're collecting personal consumer data through shopper loyalty programs, which allows retailers to provide, quote, timely savings and personalized offers. On the other hand, consumer advocacy organization Consumer Reports says that the proposal is encouraging and they want to ban companies from using consumer data to personalize prices outright. The FTC is seeking comment on this new policy for 30 days. But curious if you've been in a situation like this where you see one price and then you get to another spot and see another price, say on a library computer versus your home computer. How do you feel about it? We are going to check in with Axios Atlanta coming up next. We are going to check out a couple stories with Thomas Wheatley. Stay tuned. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here live with us at 2 o'clock. We are doing a check-in with Axios Atlanta about some of the local stories they're covering, and I'd like to bring in Thomas Wheatley, reporter for Axios, to chat about some of the work he's been covering. So, Thomas, first of all, great to see you this afternoon.
Great to see you as well. How's it going?
Going well. I am curious about this first story that you have been working on regarding the fact that Georgia, or specifically Atlanta, could expand where medical cannabis dispensaries could open. What's the latest with this?
Right. So right now, state law generally keeps medical cannabis dispensaries from operating with a certain distance from places like schools or houses of worship, childcare facilities. Atlanta wants to create a special permit process that would allow a dispensary to ask for an exception from those, so-called buffers. It wouldn't be automatic. They'd still have to go through a pretty extensive permitting process and public zoning process.
What's the reasoning, Thomas? I mean, I understand the ban on one hand, maybe concerned community advocates are thinking we don't want marijuana near a school or a church, but I'm curious, this is as talking out loud, I'm like, are the same rules in application for maybe liquor stores? And then what would be the kind of reasoning to give someone an exemption?
Well, the key thing here is medical cannabis. This is being viewed as, this is medicine, it's treatment that people need for qualifying conditions. And on July 1st, the list of qualifying conditions broadened. You no longer had to be terminal with an illness or disease to qualify for medical cannabis. They also made it available in vape form now, and they lifted the cap on the THC in the medical cannabis. So the program's expanding, and I believe applications for the registry have shot up 22%. There's now a 4-week backlog for your medical cannabis card, according to the AJC. And so there is a high demand out there, and there will be a need for more locations. Currently, Atlanta only has 3 licensed dispensaries out there. And one important thing to note is that these are not, like vape shops or head shops. They are shops that are part of the state's regulated and very regulated medical cannabis program that lawmakers have been very careful and really slow walked a lot of expansions to it and updates to it. So.
This is something we'll continue to follow, Thomas. I appreciate the update. I want to get to your second story here with the time that we've got, because you took a look at what Atlanta's Atlantic Station development needs next. They just got bought by some new owners. I feel like this kind of area has struggled a little bit. We've seen some crime, or maybe just some ways that it's struggled to really be this kind of vibrant city center that I think it billed itself as.
Well, it has a new management company operating the retail district, which is that core kind of public commons area and all those retail shops and slots there. Late last year, the Publix that has been there for, I almost want to say since Atlantic Station opened in 2005, closed. Banana Republic has closed. DSW has closed. There are shops and businesses coming in, like a Nordstrom Rack is on the way. Busy Bee Cafe is planning to open a location there. But this company is really wanting to talk to the community about, okay, what do people want to see here? And when I say the community, it's not just people who come there to see a movie or to shop. It's also the people who live there. And I think we often forget about that. It's a mixed use, truly mixed use district, one of kind of Atlanta's most ambitious.
Yeah.
And so do you make it a place where there are a lot of things for people who want to drive there or for people who live there? Ideally, it would be both.
Right. That's a good point. And I think if you take care of the people who live in a community, they're going to bring more outsiders in and kind of share their neighborhood and talk about it. So it'll be interesting to see what they ultimately decide. More grocery stores, more local restaurants, more nightlife. What's ultimately the vibe that Atlantic Station wants? Thomas, I always appreciate our conversations. I'm looking off to my right, and I know we're kind of at time here, but looking forward to the next chat.
I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.
You too, Thomas. Thank you. As we continue along at 2 o'clock, you guys, let's talk about how the Bureau of Land Management has brought 140 Mustangs and Bureaus here to North Georgia for adoption. Our Chris Rosenthal joins us live from this event. And Chris, I understand that the Bureau does this often because of overpopulation of these wild horses and burros. But I also understand our community. Some of the questions they've asked is, how does this work? Do these animals go to good homes? That's the hope. What does this look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, these animals behind me, these are some of those horses, those Mustangs. There's also burros. If you don't know what a burro is, those are just some donkeys. These all come from the western rangelands, from places like Nevada and some of the other western states. Wild animals that are overpopulated. So they bring them across the country, including here to Gainesville, Chicopee Woods Agriculture Center for this adoption event here. And for $125. Of course, there's stipulations to that. And to explain all of this program here, I've got Hunter. He's with the Bureau of Land Management. Tell me a little bit about the program here. How does this work if somebody wants to get one of these horses or burros?
Yeah, sure. So, Chris, we're out here at the Chicopee Woods Agricultural Center in beautiful Gainesville, Georgia, offering wild horses and burros for adoption. These are animals that were removed from overpopulated western public lands, and they're here. Available to go to adoptions, going out to good homes. These animals, we're offering them for $125. You'll need to fill out an application with us, basically stating that your facilities are up to par to be able to take care of one of these animals, and everything checks out. You can bring home one or multiple of these to your home.
Yeah, and of course, once you get them, there's sort of a process. It takes about a year or so before it's fully yours, huh?
Yes, that's correct. So that's why we call it an adoption event, as this isn't your traditional horse sale. The BLM retains title to these animals for a period of 1 year. And if everything checks out after 1 year, we will issue a title making this animal private property. It'll be officially yours. Now, trust me when I say this, Chris, we do not want to take your horse back. If you take good care of these animals when you adopt them, there is a 100% chance it will be able to stay with you over the long term.
And what sort of homes do these animals go for? What would they be good for?
Yeah, I mean, Chris, it's a variety of things. These animals, if people put their mind to it and they give them the patience to train these animals, they can go on to excel in a variety of disciplines. Whether it's folks doing ranch work, working cows off these horses, trail riding partner, you want to get a burro to be a livestock guardian, or perhaps pull a cart. The opportunities are endless. If you just give these animals a chance and are patient with them and earn their trust, they can go on to do anything.
Yeah, some of these animals, Hunter was telling me, some of these animals even go on to work for law enforcement. Law enforcement agencies will take some of these animals on across the country. So looking for good homes for these animals here. You can come on out here. This goes on today, tomorrow, and Saturday here at the Chicopee Woods Agricultural Center here in Gainesville. Open to the public, completely free. Even if you're not in the market for an animal, for a horse, you can still come, bring the kids, take a look at these animals. They're happy to talk with you about them and educate you a little bit about these animals and really the amazing history that these animals have in the American West.
Really regal animals, Chris. Hoping they get wonderful homes, and interesting to hear the process that one has to go through to even get a burro or a wild horse. So Chris Rosenthal, thanks for introducing us to this. We will see you again here upcoming at 3 o'clock. More news to come your way at 2, guys. Stay tuned. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being live with us here at 2 o'clock. Want to introduce you to a humane society here in the Atlanta Metro that's getting some new exercise yards in memory of a police canine. Our Eli Jordan joins us live from the Noonan Coweta Humane Society. Eli, great to see you. We understand canine Robbie played a big role in the community, and this is a way to honor him.
Yes, Ariel. Yeah, Robbie, he had a great impact on this community. It all started on February 11th when someone robbed the main Region Bank branch in Noonan on a Bullsboro Drive, and Robbie's handler got the call, and they took off, and they caught up with the suspect, and Robbie got out. The dog, Robbie the canine, got out, and as soon as he got out, he started, went and chase, and he got hit by a car, but he shook it off and continued the chase and caught up with the suspect and apprehended the suspect. And he was honored and back in April and at a big gathering over at the jail. And I was there, and Regis Bank was there. They gave him gifts and all that. And then back in June, Robbie died, unfortunately, very early. And today, though, he was honored here with a new play yard. And earlier today, everybody gathered. We had the Sheriff's Department out here. We had the mayor out here. We had Regis Bank out here. We had Humane Society out here. And this summer, high school kids from McIntosh High and Northgate High came out here, and they used the money that Regis Bank donated, thanking Robbie for helping apprehend the suspect. They used that money along with matching funds from the Humane Society to build a nice play yard for the dogs here at the Humane Society. They have over 30 dogs now, but they didn't really have a place to separate them, the big dogs from the little dogs. They didn't have any exercise equipment or anything like that, but now they do. And I spoke to Regis Bank and the sheriffs about today's event.
We were absolutely saddened by the news of his passing. He had such a huge impact on not only the community, but also the branches, us, because we were there. And so we were very saddened. But we are happy to be here today to honor him with these exercise yards and in his honor and his dedication, because it's going to help a lot of dogs going forward in the future.
We're ecstatic that Coweta Humane Society would honor Robbie in the way that they have. I know they received some money from the bank for the job he did on catching the bank robber, but to know that they named this facility, so they've used that money for after Robbie and his memorial for all the hard work he did while he worked. It's just unbelievable, and we're very touched and honored that they would do this for him.
That was Coweta County Sheriff Lynn Wood and Gladys Justice of Regis Bank speaking there. And Humane Society is rather touched by the effort, and especially from the high school kids over at Northgate and McIntosh High. McIntosh High School students aren't even in Coweta County, but they didn't care. They wanted to come over here and help out, have a summer project to do. So Northgate and McIntosh High School students teamed up together to help bring this into fruition and give you a quick look at everything. It's really nice out here. We'll put this on the wide angle. And now finally they can separate the dogs, and have the big dogs, the little dogs out here, and they got some shade, and so it's going to be more conducive to happier dogs being able to get out here, actually have some little obstacle course to run around on instead of just running around the fence and kind of being bored and not much to do. But now they finally got some shade, some pools, and all that good stuff has really kicked it up a notch here at the Noonan Coweta Humane Society, and everybody is just grateful that Robbie was able to do what he did, but also heartbroken that he has died, but also too though seeing how the community has come together and memorialize Robbie with this dog play yard here at the Coweta Noonan Humane Society. Ariel, I'll kick it back to you.
Eli, thanks for introducing us to this. Really heartbreaking, of course, that the canine didn't make it much longer than that police chase, but ultimately good that the community is coming together to help benefit some other dogs in his honor. So Eli Jordan, thanks so much for being live with us. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, I want to take you out live to our Victor Prieto, who is about to start watching our Atlanta Falcons train with the Indianapolis Colts. Victor, looks like a lot more activity than when I saw you at 1 o'clock. I understand that they're all gearing up for practice to start. What have you been seeing? Hey, Victor, I might be having some trouble hearing you. So sorry to cut you off. I'm taking a look at the practice field here. I'm looking off to my right at our board, and I don't think I see levels actually for your shot. So I might see if you can try turning off and turning on your receiver. Maybe that'll get you back for us. In the meantime, while I wait to see if we're able to get levels for you, I'm going to talk through a little bit about what Victor did share with us earlier regarding this situation. The Indianapolis Colts and the Falcons are getting to practice together ahead of the first preseason game, or against this preseason game between the teams, and they're able to see a little bit more of each other's styles, learn a little bit more about what each side is doing. You understand, when we see training camp, the Falcons players play against each other, and now they're getting this opportunity to play against another team, learn some of the skills that they're doing, and understand how they can up their game, if you will. Earlier this afternoon, Victor was able to catch up with head coach Kevin Stefanski, get a little bit more inside information as to what they're looking at from some of these training practices. So you're taking a live look there at the field in Indianapolis. Victor, I see you, but unfortunately, I still can't hear you. I'm devastated. I love seeing your pretty face, but unfortunately, wish I could hear you. In the meantime, we're just getting a look at the field as the teams are gearing up for practice. That is set to start at 3 o'clock. Victor Prieto is going to join us later this evening with all of the action. You can see the players getting ready at 3 to begin this training for the ahead of the upcoming preseason game, and we'll keep you updated on all things Falcons. As always, our Fox 5 Sports team ready to go. So you guys, here at 2 o'clock, as we await the latest, I am looking off to my right. We are getting ready for 3 o'clock. We have some news to come. Our Tom Haynes is going to be joining you for 3. We've got some big stories we're following. The woman who was assaulted in Sonoy, the victim of an attempted assault in Sonoy, is posting on Facebook about her experience and how she feels in the aftermath of all of this. A man was arrested. Doug Evans is going to join us, and Tom Haynes is going to walk you through that conversation. Our Eric Perry is also going to join us for the latest as to why the Democratic National Convention is not shortlisting Atlanta for this big visit. So all of that news to come here at 3. I am Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for hanging out with me here at 2. More to come at 3.
Sheriff, just walk me through what we can know about.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. So happy you're with us this afternoon. I'm Tom Haynes with you here for the next hour. We got a lot coming up here. Talk about the Democratic National Convention dissing Atlanta. Our Eric Perry is on that story and the reaction from our mayor and Democratic leaders. We also have popular radio show host Shelley Winter with us this afternoon after his endorsement of Jon Ossoff, his split ticket endorsement. He endorsed Governor Rick Jackson and Jon Ossoff. What's that all about? We're going to talk to Shelley here in the next couple of minutes. But want to get to our top local story here this afternoon out of Sonoy, and a man under arrest for attacking a woman in Sonoy over the weekend. Turns out to have a history of sexual assault allegations against him. 2 years ago, he was arrested in Peachtree City for groping women in grocery stores. So let's get out to our Doug Evans, who's on top of this story for us this afternoon, and what we're learning about this man. Doug?
Hey, good afternoon, Tom. Yeah, Peachtree City Police arrested Isaiah Phillips back in 2024. He's currently under arrest in Coweta County in Sonoy for the attempted attack of a woman who was just simply out walking the other night. Tried to wrestle her to the ground, tried to sexually assault her. She got away, fortunately. This man was Peachtree City grocery store groper. He was a man accused by police of following women at several grocery stores here in Peachtree City. The surveillance video showed him stalking them on parallel aisles and then waiting for the right opportunity to touch them inappropriately or to rub up against them in some sort of sexual manner. This again happened in 2024. He was charged with at least 7 counts of sexual battery as a result of that. I just got off the phone with authorities who say that those cases have yet to come to trial here in Fayette County. So he was out on bond at the time of this attack in Sonoy. His name is Isaiah Phillips. He was 28 then when we first covered him. He's now 30 years old. He is charged with multiple counts as a result of what happened in Sonoy just the other night. So a guy who is no stranger to the community, also no stranger to Fox 5 viewers. We have covered him extensively at the time of his arrest, even had some body cam video of his arrest at the very same house in which he was living and was arrested just the other day, Tom. One other thing that I want to mention about this case, I got a text message from Sonoy Police late last night with a message that the victim herself wanted me to share with our viewers. And so I have posted that on my Doug Evans Facebook page, Doug Evans Fox 5 Facebook page. There you can go to it and see the message from the victim. And I just want to read you some of the things. And it's getting just all kinds of great reaction and praise for this woman. She said, to the beautiful people of my community and beyond, I'm good. I'm living in gratitude because I know this situation could have ended so much worse. By the grace of God, I wasn't raped, and the suspect has been arrested. I am and will continue to be heartbroken that this happened in my safe little slice of heaven, but it is also a sobering reminder that even in a city ranked among the safest in the state and country, it is not immune to evil. She then goes on to deplore some of the comments that she's read about her assailant. She goes on to say that she hopes that if people are going to pray for her, that they will also pray for him and pray for his family as well. She says that we can't respond to darkness by creating more darkness. And she thanks the people that pulled her into her living room, their living room that night. And she says, brought me to safety and then surrounded me and covered me in prayer. Thank you. And then she concludes, Tom, with this about her little town, Sonoy. This is not what needs to put Sonoy on the map. Not the attack, not the hatred, not the fear, the love. And so a powerful statement from this woman who was attacked as she simply walked about this very small rural Georgia town. a town that, as she says, is rated among the safest in Georgia. And it was 10 o'clock at night, prompted a warning from Sonoy police to say, hey, we're a small town, but times have changed.
Incredibly powerful, as you say, Doug. We're going to look for that on your Facebook page, Doug Evans, Fox 5. Powerful, courageous for her to even come out and speak after being victimized like this. Despicable allegations against this gentleman, and really addressed one of my questions to you in her statement to you about Sonoy and the unlikelihood of something like this happening to her. And listen to what she says. She's like, don't think of Sonoy as the place where something like this happens just because I was victimized. I mean, how selfless of that woman to come out and say that about a community that she's so proud of.
Yeah, and Tom, I think if you're going to go to my page and read her statement, then read the comments too. Read the way that they are affecting people today. Just their admiration for her, their respect for her, their prayers for her. It will restore your faith in humanity, I think.
Indeed. Well, we appreciate her reaching out to you, Doug, and we'll certainly go on and read the rest of her comments on your Facebook page. Of course, our heart goes out to her, and we wish her well on her road to recovery after what happened. Doug Evans, live for us in Sonoy this afternoon on the 3 p.m. stream. Doug, thanks so much. Also happening here this afternoon, want to talk to you about another Cherokee County deputy on the wrong side of the law after an internal investigation found that he was illegally accessing license plate tracking systems. This is yet another instance where these flock cameras are coming under controversy. We're talking about 57-year-old Jerry Shellhouse, terminated, booked into the county jail Wednesday on charges including felony violation of oath of office. Officials say Shellhouse improperly used automated database information for non-law enforcement purposes between October 2023 and December 25. He's now the fourth Cherokee County Sheriff's Office employee to face criminal charges for misusing the surveillance technology. Sheriff Frank Reynolds emphasized that misuse of this technology will not be tolerated, noting the agency has since updated its policy to require mandatory certification and twice-yearly audits. Shellhouse was held on a $38,000 bond. We understand that a major update is available on a story that we've been following in DeKalb County. Take a look. Police confirming 2 young children involved in an overnight SWAT standoff have been safely returned to their mother. Officers responded to Parkway Grand Apartments Wednesday night after an argument between the mother and husband, Jakari Eason. When police learned Eason had outstanding arrest warrants, a SWAT team was called into the complex. Officers eventually entered the apartment and found it empty. Authorities say Eason does not face new charges stemming from the incident, but he remains at large and is still wanted on previous warrants for kidnapping and family violence battery. So take a look at the picture here. If you have any information on his whereabouts, you're asked to call DeKalb County Police immediately. We have some big news about Atlanta's status for the 2028 Democratic National Convention and the run-up to the presidential election. You know, Atlanta has been put on the map lately with FIFA World Cup. You got Super Bowls that are here. Our city is a shining beacon in the United States, but apparently not enough this time for the Democrat National Committee, who passed on Atlanta for the 28 convention, outraging many Democrats, including our own Mayor Andre Dickens. Georgia Democratic Chair Charlie Bailey says the road to the White House runs right through Georgia, and so it was kind of a no-brainer to have the convention here. So let's get out to our Eric Perry, live in downtown Atlanta, with reaction to this announcement. Eric?
Yeah, saying he's outraged, just putting it nicely there in a letter that we were able to get our hands on. He is quite upset that they did not even put Atlanta on the short list for the 3 cities. So they've narrowed it down from Atlanta, Chicago, to the final 3 of Denver, Philly, and Boston. Let's take you to some video here. This was a happier time back in April when the DNC and the committee, they were touring different facilities here in Atlanta there as they, at the time, were looking at the 5 cities. Today, in a letter obtained by Fox 5, Mayor Dickens addresses Atlanta. He addresses the South. He addresses Democrats, saying that the DNC continues to make the wrong choices. He goes on to say this decision could not have been based on Atlanta's ability to host major events. He's citing the successful World Cup. He also says that State Farm Arena is one of the most successful arenas in the country. He goes on to directly call out DNC Chair Ken Martin, saying it seems that he doesn't even believe himself when he said the road to the White House runs through the South there. He says that they are afraid to leave their comfort zone and blind to the fact that South is the answer. They are abandoning Atlanta, abandoning the South, and once again abandoning black voters there. He also kind of mentions that he sees where the thinking is when it comes to winning the 2028 election, saying that if they put it in Atlanta or took it more seriously, he believes that they would have a fighting chance there as well. Now, we talked to different people, and we also want to point out that Atlanta has not hosted the DNC, the convention there, in 40 years. 2016, Philly had it, and then 2004, 2008, it was in Denver and Boston as well. So he's not happy, I can tell you that. Charles Bailey, who is over the Georgia Democrats here, the party here in Georgia, he's traveling, so he couldn't do an interview, but again, he did send a statement saying that they're now going to focus on the 77 days, I believe, into the election here in November, and hopefully get their party candidates on board there. But this would have been a big win, and I think just talking with just different people around town and different leaders there, this comes as a shock, Tom, as a lot of people thought, especially after the FIFA World Cup, we were really going to have a DNC in 2028 along with the Super Bowl that is guaranteed in 2028.
Well, they're not happy for no reason. I mean, he's right, Charlie Bailey, the Georgia Democratic chair, that Georgia has really become a battleground state on the national stage. And it's a coincidence because now the Wall Street Journal is running an article this morning talking about Jon Ossoff and his invectives against President Trump, and taking the fight directly to the White House, sidestepping Mike Collins, and talking about him auditioning in this campaign as a possible presidential contender. So Georgia has relevance where 2028 is concerned. It's just kind of startling how we weren't even in the running, Eric.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, we've both been here on election night to where Georgia could go either way. And of course, we saw it go for Joe Biden back in the day. And, you know, it's one of those things where I think they thought that momentum or just that swing state of Georgia being just all eyes really are always on Georgia. Anytime that there's election, it's back on Georgia. Ossoff and then, you know, Keisha Lance Bottoms going against Rick Jackson in November. I think it just comes as a shock for so many people there. And I think Mayor Andre Dickens just did not hold back. I'm talking to a legal analyst and a Democratic strategist for 4 o'clock, getting their perspective of it. Of course, they're disappointed as well. And we have not heard yet the rationale or the reasoning of why Chicago, which was that other city, and Atlanta were taken off the list there. And we have not heard from the DNC chair either.
All right. We know that we would have put our best foot forward in 28. Eric Perry reporting on this. Look forward to your live reports, Eric, coming up today on the news at 4, 5, and 6. Eric, thanks. Also in the news here at 3 o'clock, a North Carolina man under arrest this afternoon, charged in a deadly crash that killed 2 Milligan University cycling students in Tennessee. What we know is that Wednesday's crash along Highway 19E in that area, if you're familiar with the area, in Carter County, also injured multiple other cyclists for that school.
I'm deeply saddened to share some tragic news with you. 11 of our cyclists were on a training ride this morning. They were struck by a vehicle. 2 of them died in the accident, Halen Ingdahl and Braden Rogers. It is more important than ever right now that Milligan is a community gathered around Jesus, and we need Jesus deeply. So I'd like to invite the entire community into prayer with us, into grief with the families, with us, and into deep prayer for the families of those we have lost?
I am very limited in what I can say about the investigation by my canon of ethics, as it is an ongoing investigation. But what I can tell you is that John Benfield, age 69, of Newland, North Carolina, has been charged with vehicular homicide by recklessness, 2 counts, and aggravated assault by vehicle by recklessness, 5 counts.
So that's members of the campus community there in reaction to the cyclist being struck by that vehicle. According to an affidavit, there was no evidence showing Benfield tried to brake or even take evasive action before that collision. Well, the Henry County Sheriff's Office is joining forces, we understand, in an important initiative with multiple law enforcement agencies for Operation Safe Henry. What is this? It's a major multi-jurisdictional crackdown to clear outstanding felony and misdemeanor warrants. Maria Guzman on this story this afternoon, riding along with deputies as they serve those warrants across the county. Maria?
Hey, Tom. Yeah, so this is a 3-day operation day. Final day. I met up with the team around 2 p.m. That's when they were being deployed. So it consists about teams, including 1 K9 team. So my colleague Eric and I have been following very closely to the deputies as they serve these warrants. Now, these warrants, they range from anything like a misdemeanor to more serious like a felony. And so we made one stop at one house. Now, the person that they were looking for were not there. Our team, the deputies I was following, they got called for backup. The deputies tell me one person left the scene. The person was being the one who they were looking for. So we're here. The team is serving that warrant. We're inside the car because this is an active operation. Very cautious and careful to not really share any details on what part of the county we are.
All right. Maria Guzman, whose signal is being interfered with there. She tries to tell us about these multi-jurisdictional warrants being served, and kind of a cool perspective if you take a look at where Maria was inside one of those cruisers at a safe distance, I might add, while deputies do their work to serve these warrants, fanning out across the county. Could go back to Maria. Check it out. We have some sound from her. Let's listen to what they're actually doing out there.
Sheriff, just walk me through what we can know about Operation Save Henry.
Well, the objective of this operation is to make sure that people understand if you are wanted for any type of outstanding warrant in Henry County, we're coming to find you. Those warrants never go out in terms of our focus, but we raise levels of consciousness with respect to bringing all agencies together. Today, us, tomorrow, you. There's never any jurisdictional boundaries with respect to where a criminal may go. So we want to make sure that we are task specific in our respective area.
When we talk about warrants, if you can just give me an idea, what type of warrant are we talking about here?
Well, we run the gamut, everything from misdemeanor to the highest felonious warrant, from the 7 deadlies that we call them, rape, aggravated assault, and even murder if we have some. Yes.
Gotcha. Warrants are a big part of the day-to-day here. What are the risks that our officers and deputies face when conducting these warrants?
Well, there's always what we call or consider to be the unknown. Whenever you knock on someone's door, you never know what's on the other side of the door. And so what we do is we make sure that we have a foundation with respect to our training. What do we do from a specific training perspective and also from a tactical perspective? We want to make sure we take everything by the numbers and never take anything for granted. In God we trust, and everyone else we check out.
Sheriff, what do you tell your team before they go out to their assignments and go onto the field?
Well, rely on each other and rely on your training. And we always want to treat, regardless of your type of warrant, we want to treat everyone the way that we want to be treated. But we want to make sure we take everyone in custody the way that they should be and that everyone goes home better than they came.
And for the people who call this county home, any messages to them as you guys go out and conduct these warrants?
Well, this is God country. We've always said that, and we're doing God's business, and we're making sure that we're sitting on the wall consistently and watching to ensure that everyone that stays here in Henry County can, in fact, rest here.
I know this is day 3 of the operation. Is this something you guys do every year regarding how long the operations are?
Well, we do this consistently. Each and every year, there's more than 13,000 people that come inside of the Henry County Jail. There's just highlights on this operation, but this is what we do. This is a way of life for us, quite frankly. And so it's one of the things that we do each and every day. We're just raising levels of consciousness with respect to this warrant task force.
All right, that's Maria Guzman there talking to the Henry County Sheriff. Maria called in. Remember, we lost her shot, but she wanted to call in to tell me to tell you guys that they've made over 50 arrests so far in their effort, one that Maria is out on right now. Perhaps that's why the signal got disturbed a little bit in her live report. But in her interview there with the Henry County Sheriff, he was talking about the great success of this crackdown, this multi-jurisdictional crackdown again out in Henry County. So thanks to Maria and her reporting on that extraordinary effort. Got news from the CDC, who says that a nationwide cyclospora outbreak still growing with over 15,000 cases in 47 states, but new infections are slowing, we understand. Investigators point to tainted lettuce as a primary source, with summer travel fueling the spread. At the same time, health officials are tracking a salmonella outbreak linked to tainted jalapeno peppers that have sickened over 400 people in 32 states. With case counts expected to rise as backlogs clear, doctors urging consumers to be cautious and calling on food manufacturers to rigorously overhaul safety and traceability. Got some news on the national debt, which you're not going to like to hear. It's passed a record $40 trillion as government spending continues to outpace revenue. While some lawmakers are calling for a balanced budget amendment, Congress has continued voting for bills that add trillions to the deficit. That includes legislation to add those trillions to the deficit over the next decade. The debt has doubled in less than 10 years, taking just 5 months to climb from $39 to $40 trillion. Markets already showing signs of strain, prompting Treasury Department to double its government bond buybacks to stabilize the financial markets, who are not happy this afternoon. The Dow Jones Industrials have dropped over 600 points. Not been a good back half of the week for stocks, if that's something you watch, especially today, with stock equities dropping significantly. So that's something we're watching before the closing bell here in just about 40 minutes. The president says that diplomatic talks with Iran have stalled as Tehran continues threatening Gulf neighbors and maritime shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. The president, maintaining heavy economic pressure on Tehran, is gaining support as the United Arab Emirates suspends all trade with Iran following a recent missile interception. While the U.S. Navy escorts are working to protect oil tankers moving through the Strait of Hormuz, continued attacks on shipping keep crude oil prices elevated with no immediate resolution in sight. Also adding to stock woes on the New York Stock Exchange this afternoon. Critics in Congress pressuring the administration to engage in serious negotiations to open the waterway, even as reports suggest Tehran could prepare to escalate the conflict even further. As we continue here, we're going to check in with our Fox 5 Storm team for the forecast. Back in the heat. Another rise in temperatures out there this afternoon. Question is, here we're sitting on Thursday, what the remainder of the work week is going to look like and into the weekend. We're going to talk about that. Plus, he is a lightning rod on the radio. Shelley Winter, the conservative radio talk show host who you've no doubt listened to, made a controversial endorsement, all right, that I talked about on the 8 p.m. streaming show Red Clay Rundown, and that Shelley reacted to on his radio show. So we're going to have the back and forth, and he's going to explain that endorsement as we continue. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. So happy you're with us this afternoon. It's been a busy afternoon of news, including what's happening outside. Marquise Mira joining us, Marquise, to talk about the weather. Little rise in temperatures again. We thought for just a second, especially in the mornings, that things were cooling down, but today, not so much.
Yeah, we just know how quickly conditions can change here in northern Georgia. As you mentioned, we started off the morning trending a little cool, temps back in the 70s, and we had this thick cloud cover over us. And typically with the clouds being overcast, you just don't let in enough sunlight to reach the 90s. But alas, no clouds in this picture as we take you outside right now. And that has allowed for temperatures to climb now into the mid-90s as of the 3 o'clock hour. So what we're watching out for over the next 12 hours will include the chance for clouds to re-enter the forecast, and then eventually the chance for strong and severe thunderstorms. So some massive changes coming our way in northern Georgia. But let's take a look at surrounding temperatures. One of these things is certainly not like the other. Blairsville, you're still hanging around the upper 80s, but you're about 10 degrees warmer in Thomaston. Eatonton as well, 97 degrees out that direction, and that'll likely be your high in Atlanta before today is said and done. So we still have a few more moments for those temperatures to rise. But one thing we haven't seen too much of this afternoon has been rain showers. You got to go all the way over to South Carolina to find those across I-20 into Columbia, but we are staying clear of the rain, at least for the moment. We're going to watch this area of low pressure that's sliding across the Midwest head our direction, in which, with the frontal boundary attached to it, we have the chance and the potential for some severe overnight thunderstorms. The biggest impacts that we're watching out for do include damaging winds, isolated hail, frequent lightning, can't rule that out. And as you move further off towards the west, that's where we could see the first few strong storms tonight, in which it's an elevated risk by the Storm Prediction Center, a 2 out of 5 on their table. So rain chances for this afternoon, pretty minuscule, but as we head into the evening with temperatures slowly declining, we will see that opportunity for more showers. Overnight lows should stall in the mid and the low 70s before the rain is said and done. But here's a look at your hour-by-hour forecast, and we'll time out the passage of those storms. Notice I said our westernmost communities could possibly see stronger severe thunderstorms. Dalton, Rome, I'm looking at you guys as that first wave of energy comes bursting in just before midnight and then becomes a little bit more widespread the further into the evening we go. Keep in mind, temperatures are consistently cooling overnight, so we're not going to have the same ample energy to sustain long-lasting severe thunderstorms, but we could still see 1 or 2 before your overnight hours are said and done. Now on Friday, that front kind of stalls towards our east, and that'll be the opportunity for stronger storms to finish off the work week. Here across northern Georgia, though, still expect some rain showers on Friday, and then we'll dry out heading into Saturday. So the outlook for Friday does include severe weather to our south and east. So this is outside of our DMA, but they'll still show those same impacts that we could feel today. Strong damaging winds, localized flooding, and frequent lightning, with winds being the primary impact. Heading into the weekend, though, once we get out of the rain, we say hello to the sunshine and hello to slightly cooler temperatures. In fact, from Saturday all the way through next Wednesday, we'll be hanging out in the lower 90s.
Still looking for those 80s. Still not seeing them on the 7-day.
I feel like every day we're looking for cooler conditions.
We're going to have a party when they show up, but it's been Blairsville where you want to be.
Exactly.
Temperatures, I mean, in the 70s sometimes when we're hanging out at almost 100 degrees here.
So what's funny is that on the back end of this forecast, we'll slide into the low 70s. Blairsville, they'll be in the 60s. So the further north you go, the cooler conditions are, but still a lot of consistency from Saturday pushing forward for us.
Let's head to the mountains. What do you say?
I'm down.
All right. Thanks, Marquise. Appreciate it. Got some political news now to talk to you about, specifically Georgia Republican Senate candidate Mike Collins going on the attack against Democrat Senator Jon Ossoff, accusing him of making sexist and misogynist remarks. Ossoff drawing criticism after remarking at an Atlanta rally that President Trump travels with White House aide Natalie Harp on defenseless flying Palace. Ossoff later clarified the remark, saying that he was referring to her as a security blanket. Collins demanded an apology, claiming Ossoff's comments show his true colors and disrespect toward women. All right. Well, not too long ago, conservative Atlanta radio personality Shelley Winter made some big news. Perhaps you heard it on his show, announcing that he was endorsing Republican Rick Jackson for governor, but at the same time then endorsing Democrat Jon Ossoff for Senate. It was a hot topic on our 8 p.m. political show, Red Clay Rundown, which you can watch every single night here on Fox Local at 8 o'clock, in which I asked our guest that night the motivation behind Winter's decision. After all, a lot of people follow Shelley's opinion. Shelley then reacted to my comments on his radio show. Take a listen. Seems a little provocative. Maybe he's going for audience. I don't know, or maybe he truly feels that way. I won't take that away from him either. But Ossoff and Jackson, I mean, these couldn't be two polar opposite kinds of people. How do you explain that?
Did I do it for that reason? Well, it's part of my job. No, I didn't endorse someone. Ooh, let me endorse this person so people can listen to me. No, it's really what I think. I've come to the conclusion, Mr. Haynes, and everybody listening to me right now, that party affiliation doesn't mean anything anymore.
Shelley joins me now here live to hash it out. Shelley, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon. I got to say, I think a lot of Georgia voters who are going to be headed into the voting booth in November share the same feeling, that they might vote split ticket. But you describe yourself as a traditionalist Republican, a conservative. So how do you square that endorsing Jon Ossoff?
Well, I'm not sure, as I said in that clip, first of all, thanks for inviting me on. But as I said in that clip, I'm not sure that the Republican means the same thing anymore, to be completely honest with you. So, yeah, I'm conservative, but what does it mean to be a Republican? Does it mean exploding debt? Does it mean exploding spending? Does it mean traveling across the world to blow up a country to 6 months later only to go back to economic sanctions that were there in the first place? I mean, what does it really mean to be a Republican? So really what I've come to conclude is that I'm really, the Shelley Winter Show is the home of the politically homeless. And I get to endorse and vote for that person that I feel may be better for the issues that I care about. I endorse Jon Ossoff for many reasons, but the main reason is he's accessible. I've heard countless stories of his constituent services. I've heard Republicans talk about his constituent services. I've heard listeners tell me about his constituent services, and I think that's important. You know, it's not really your votes count. Of course, that's important, but the fact that people can reach out to you and get their problems solved on an individual basis, or in the case of the two mayors in South Georgia, where they can get help after a devastating hurricane, means a lot to me, and that's why I endorsed them. Right, and then on the Rick Jackson side, I supported Burt Jones. Rick Jackson beat Burt Jones. I know Keisha Lance Bottoms. I've had her on my show, but I just think Rick Jackson's going to be a better governor for Georgia because he's probably going to keep a lot of what Brian Kemp has been doing for the last 8 years that everyone said wouldn't work 8 years ago, and we've been doing just fine for the last 8 years, if not growing.
All right, if you were a Democrat and you came out and said you're voting for Collins, I'd ask you the same questions. I'd just flip the script, just in full disclosure. But what about if you're a conservative traditionalist, you supported Trump, what about your core conservative principles? I'm talking about immigration. I'm talking about abortion, taxes, regulation, things like that. Things that I am assuming you are on the opposite side of the aisle than Jon Ossoff.
Well, let's break them down. When you say immigration, what part? I was all for deporting criminal, illegal immigrants. I'm not for ICE in cities snatching people up because they look a certain way. So when you ask me about immigration, what does that really mean? Do we go back to the Republican concept of immigration reform, where we look at allowing people to stay who have committed no crimes? Do we look at a policy that used to be Republican, where the dreamers would actually be citizens right now? Or do we look at what's become the immigration policies of the new Republican Party? So I think again, it goes back to what are the definitions that we're using.
All right, what about, let's hit on the other ones, abortion, taxes, regulation, things like that.
I'm for tax cuts, but you got to pay for them. Pay for the tax cuts. I don't want to pay a lot in taxes, but I also don't want to go into debt because tax cuts come around all the time. Yeah. For instance, there's a massive support myself included, for no tax on tips and overtime. But that's only through 2028. But the corporate income tax cuts and the individual income tax cuts are permanent. Well, why couldn't the overtime and tax and tips tax cuts be permanent as well? And so, I think that I'm a conservative, traditional values, absolutely. When it comes to abortion, I have a nuanced take on abortion. I was in college. A girlfriend and I drove to New York to have an abortion. So there's not a day that, I wouldn't say a day at this point, but there's not a month or two that goes by that I don't think about where that baby would be right now. Right. And so there's a part of me that says, I'd like to have been able to give some thought to that decision, but it was really easy to get in a car in Syracuse University and drive to New York City and do this behind both our moms' backs when we were in college.
Shelley, hang on one second, because on your bio it says you're a supporter of President Trump. You were fond of him before he became president. You're fond of him now. Ossoff is out there with invectives like Trump is a crook. He's a pal of Jeffrey Epstein. He's flying around with Natalie Harp. Do you support those statements through your endorsement of Jon Ossoff?
I don't know. I think that's
Or do they rub you the wrong way?
I'll be honest with you. I don't like the fact that Trump has made billions while in office. I mean, I can honestly tell you that. And going back to the first part of my bio, traditional values or conservative with traditional values, that's not something I would support. So again, it becomes something like, do I support the people or do I support what they're doing? And I've come to the conclusion that I'm starting to realize that more and more voters, myself included, we need to look at the people and what they're doing, what they've done, and vote for them regardless of party. So when Jon Ossoff said that Donald Trump's a crook, I've got to look at the evidence and say, well, yeah, there's a bunch of things going on that Victor Davis Hanson wrote a book called The Biden Crime Family. And the vast majority of that book was Biden doing inside deals with people over a 50-year career. This is the Trump family doing the exact same thing over a year and a half. So what do I do? Do I sit back and say, well, I supported Trump at one time, I've got to keep going? No, that's the problem. No one on my side is willing to say, hey, that doesn't seem good what Trump's doing, because we said it a year ago, or the last president. And no one seems on the Democrat side to be able to sit back and say, hey, you know what? I don't like this open borders thing by my Democrat party. I think if more voters do that, our country will be better off.
While we have you, and you're a great analyst of politics, which we appreciate very much, Ossoff has been completely sidestepping Mike Collins, going right after the White House, right after Trump in these speeches. The Wall Street Journal this morning, and I don't know if you read it, talked about how he, in this campaign, is auditioning himself for 2028. So since you endorsed him for Senate, does that mean you endorse him for president?
Depending on who's running in 2028, right?
I guess so.
Like I just said, it depends. I'm taking everybody as they come as an individual. If Rubio's the nominee, I can honestly say I'd probably go with Marco Rubio. If JD's the nominee, I may have to give it some thought. You know what I mean? So it just really depends. But I think it's interesting that that Senator Ossoff is going after the president so hard. I think he's doing it because Mike Collins is tying himself so much to the president. He gets a 2-for-1 in every attack on the president.
Yeah, it's interesting, Shelley. You know, Democrats used to accuse MAGA of being a far-right party. Some Democrats, and you've talked about it on your show, are now complaining that they have the same problem with the Democrat Socialist Party. You got Mamdani, you got other rising Democrats, Abdul al-Sayed rising in popularity. How is a guy like Ossoff, before we leave you, going to reconcile his party identification and the purple nature of Georgia with that further left progressive wing of the party?
I think you answer your own question. He doesn't have to in Georgia because Georgia has a purple nature. John Ossoff doesn't have to in any way, shape, or form. This is me speaking as an analyst, I guess. He doesn't have to in any way placate the far left of the Democrat Party in Georgia. And if they don't come on board his campaign, they don't come on board his campaign. I would advise him to leave that alone, unless that's what he really believes. But I don't think that's who he is. I don't think he truly believes in that far left policy prescriptions of the Democrat Party, particularly as listed by the DSA.
All right, Shelley Winter, we appreciate you joining us so much this afternoon.
Thanks for the invitation.
We know a lot of people listen to you every weeknight, 7 to 10 p.m. WSB Radio. Shelley Winter.
7 to 9.
7 to 9? All right. I gave you an extra hour. Shelley.
That's fine.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you joining us.
God bless.
God bless you, too. Got still a lot more ahead this afternoon. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I want to take you right to some live pictures from Skyfox 5 of a pretty serious situation up in Smyrna near Windy Hill Road, I'm told, where there's been a major accident and it's affecting traffic in that area. As you can see, only one lane getting by. Not a ton of information, but I wanted to bring you these pictures as soon as we got them. So take a look. This is involving a motorcyclist, and you can see where it wound up in the bushes there. The back of that car seemingly damaged. Don't know if that's a result of the accident that just happened or a prior accident involving that vehicle, but we do know that that silver compact car is kind of pulled over on the side of the road, in addition to that motorcycle being in the bushes. We just don't know at this point the condition of the motorcycle rider. We do know there's some debris scattered on the roadway there. Again, this is on Windy Hill Road. Surely affecting traffic in the area of DeKalb County and Smyrna. So if you happen to be in that area at all, you might want to look out for what's happening there. Again, live pictures, Skyfox 5, of a braking situation. As news breaks, you see it here on the stream, which is why it's so great that we're really on all day, beginning at 11 o'clock here. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. You can join us anytime. We always appreciate you streaming with us on our mobile app, Fox Local, which is a free download if you have it on any of our social media platforms at Fox 5 Atlanta. That's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We're all over the place. And if you're out and about on the radio, driving around, you can also listen to us at 107.9 HD2 FM, our radio partner. We're always live. So as investigators continue to sort out what happened in this crash, or if we get any information on the motorists involved here, we will talk about it with you, or any residual traffic informations in that area. More than 100 wild horses and burros in Gainesville as the Bureau of Land Management up there hosts a special adoption event in the Chicopee Woods area. Fox 5's Chris Rosenthal live at the area with details on how you can adopt. Chris, you see you got some friends behind you there.
Yeah, they have some horses here and some burros. Burros, just another word for donkeys. These are some of the burros, and we're going to take a look at some of those horses and Mustangs here. They're over here at the Chicopee Woods Agriculture Center here in Gainesville. These animals all came from out west, and due to overcrowding, the Bureau of Land Management needed to, needed to find new homes for these animals, so they're taking them across the country, and they are here in Gainesville, where people can come, look at them, and you can purchase for $125 per animal one of these animals. Of course, there's some rules and stipulations with that, and to help explain a little bit more about that, I've got Hunter here. Hunter, thanks for joining us. Tell me, you can buy one of these animals, $125. There are some stipulations. Can you tell me a little about that?
Yes, that's correct. So when you buy these animals from us for $125, you are agreeing to give them a good home. All right. So you need to keep this animal for a minimum of 1 year until you receive title, which makes it private property. In that year, we ask until you have the animal gentled down, you keep it in a secure facility, such as the one you're standing in right now, or perhaps an enclosed barn or something with adequate feed and water provided to them.
And what would these animals be good for? What would people be coming here to buy these animals for?
I mean, the folks here today, it seems like, are from all walks of life. We got people interested in them to use them for a variety of disciplines. I was just talking to somebody who was a part of a veterans program who's going to be using them with veterans for a little therapeutic healing stuff. We got people who are interested in using these for barrel racing and trail riding and all sorts of neat things today.
Wow, wow. And you were telling me too, even there are some law enforcement agencies across the country that have even taken advantage of these adoption sales here to get horses for their agencies. So.
Yes, sir, that's correct. Off the top of my head, I know Denver Police Department, New York City Police Department, as well as U.S. Border Patrol have utilized wild Mustangs sourced from the Bureau of Land Management in their mounted units.
These come from out west. Tell me a little bit about the history of these wild animals here, because this is a chance to really get some, animal that's in touch with American history in a way.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I like to say that these animals built the West. They embody the spirit of the American West, and Congress recognized that, and in 1971 passed the Wild Free-Roaming Horses and Burros Act to protect them in perpetuity on the range, but however, with that protection comes the management of these populations. So occasionally we do need to remove animals from ranges. And with that, we offer them for adoption, like here at the Chicopee Woods Agricultural Center in Gainesville.
Yeah, about 140 of them. Hunter was telling me that they've already today, this is the first day of this, or about 40 of them or so.
Yeah, I'd say about 40 of them have found homes today. Now, Chris, I've been doing this long enough to know we'll have plenty of animals for anyone who wants to come out through the weekend. Again, we're open tomorrow, Friday, the 21st, from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and then Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon.
And, these are just beautiful, beautiful animals. This is, even if you're not in the market for an animal, you could still come out here and take it out.
Yes, that's more than correct. I invite anyone around the area who is looking for something to do to come out here and learn a thing or two about our nation's wild horses and burros, and hey, maybe even start thinking about getting prepared for the next time we roll through town to give one a good home.
Yeah, it's completely free to come out here and look and talk with Hunter or some of his co-workers, and they'll be happy to answer any questions about these beautiful animals, and they're really a piece of American history and lore here. A chance to take one home even.
Yeah, they are spectacular creatures, really beautiful. They look like they're well taken care of out there too. And what a great opportunity if somebody wants to adopt a horse or a burro, as you say, to go out and do just that. Chris Rosenthal live this afternoon, always at a great event. Chris, thanks so much. When we come back, we're going to talk about this police canine that's being honored today, and rightly so. Our Eli Jordan is with him on the other side of the break. Welcome back. So glad you're with us this afternoon on this Thursday afternoon. The Noonan Coweta County Humane Society dedicating 2 new exercise yards in honor of late Coweta County Sheriff's Office Canine Robbie. The new yards funded by Regions Bank to honor Robbie's heroic role in apprehending a bank robbery suspect. Let's get out to Eli Jordan, who's live there with the community effort that made it all happen. Eli?
Hey, yes, Tom. Canine Robbie, he left a big impact. On February 11th, there was a robbery at the Maine Regions Bank branch on Bullsboro Drive here in Noonan, and his handler got the call, and they gave chase. Robbie got out, and he was doing what he was supposed to do, but when he got out, he got hit by a car, knocked down, but Robbie, the canine, got back up, gave chase, caught up with the suspect, and they were able to apprehend him thanks to Robbie, the canine. And then in April, Regents decided to honor him, and there was a nice little gathering of Regents Bank employees and community members and Sheriff's Department, and Robbie was there as well. And then in June, unexpectedly, Robbie died. And as heartbreaking as it is, though, the canine, the Noonan Coweta Humane Society this morning had a little video of that, got together, and it revealed their 2 new exercise yards. Now, these 2 new exercise yards brought together the community, also the Northgate High School students and McIntosh students to come over here and help it out. And but I spoke to Regents Bank and the sheriff about today's event and Robbie.
It's very heartwarming. It gives me chills, actually. It's just the amount of dogs that it's going to help, the people that it's going to help who will receive these dogs, who get exercise and socialization and enrichment from being in these exercise yards in his honor and Canine Robbie's honor. It's just great.
All our canines are very impactful to all of us, but you don't think about it affecting the community like it has. And when Chilo has been so productive in stopping the drug trade and doing everything he's done. He's been shot in the line of duty, but he came right back to work. Robbie captured this bank robber, and it's just, we have a great canine unit, and we know it, but to see that the public and the people here in the community appreciate it makes us feel that much better.
It was also touching for a lot of the people here at the Humane Society was that the high school students at Northgate and high school students at McIntosh, even though McIntosh High is not in Coweta County, they all wanted to come here and, volunteer their time this summer to make this happen. And that it's just, touched everybody how Robbie the K9 has brought the community together, brought everyone together, and, how big of an impact a canine dog has had on this community. And today, they remembered Robbie, and he will be, his legacy will be remembered with the sign here and the 2 dog runs that help split up the dogs, and where they can come out here and run a little bit more free and not worry about, any kind of interactions between the big dogs and the little dogs, and get a little bit more exercise with some obstacle course action going on out here. Tom?
Well, it's such an honor, not only for Robbie, as you said, but for that community, and then to have it at the Humane Society there, where these dogs are sometimes waiting a really long time to find a new home and a new family to be with. The fact that they can get out in Robbie's memory to be outside, exercise, and have the fun that these animals deserve to have is really something special. Eli Jordan bringing it to us live this afternoon from Noonan Coweta Humane Society. Eli, as always, thanks so much. And thank you for joining us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. It's been a busy afternoon of news. Thanks to Shelley Winter for joining us to talk politics. Dow Jones Industrials not loving it today, down over 600 points on news of inflation and the economy. We'll see if the Dow can make up some ground before the end of the work week. Appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Don't go anywhere. The news continues on Fox Local right here, right now.
Fox 5 News at 4 starts right now.
We're learning new information about an alleged sexual assault suspect who attacked